Good morning, people. It is Friday, the 18th of November. Welcome to TDA, the day after, your favorite news platform and the home of popular culture as defined by the culture. And as you do every single day, we have amazing hosts with you. I am one of them, your favorite shade queen, my own royalty.
Top of the morning.
Okay.
Yes.
Just Jean, the fitness queen. Ow.
That's right.
And they call me E-Man, the pro-black activist, TDA producer and news analyst, melanin jam-packed.
It is nice to have you back. I've actually missed hearing that. How have you been?
I've been all right, man.
Skin
Been
is
on
glowing.
the secret mission and that.
Yeah, you're looking very well relaxed and rejuvenated to cause some trouble.
Thank you.
Not thank you.
He knows his brand.
He knows his brand and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm ready.
That's good. How's everyone doing though?
Good, thank you.
Not good thing. You come like to the interview.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you as well.
Love that.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm cool, man.
All right, love to see it, love to see it.
Can I just say, do you know how cute it is that I get to see Yusuf more often now?
Oh, is that? Oh, that's so sweet.
It's like, oh, give me a hug.
How often do you guys just see each other every week?
Not that much, but it's like, do you know, because we kind of stopped recording like weekly.
Okay.
It felt like a lot longer. Do you get what I
It
mean?
does feel longer. When
It
you don't,
does.
when you don't see your co-host for like even 1 week, it's like, damn, I've seen you in a month. It's like, nah, it's been a week. It's really
Whereas
sweet.
now, yeah, and I feel like I've seen you a lot this week.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Yeah.
These have been on tour.
Yeah, we're doing the
Press
rounds.
tour.
Got
Press
Presto, yeah. Presto for our live show, actually.
Love
Might
it,
as well
love
just
it,
plug
love it.
Right now.
Can you let people know?
15th
15th.
of January
Nice.
at the
Clapham
Clapham
Grounds.
Ground.
That's right.
Our last ever live show.
Last hoorah, baby.
Last hurrah, man.
Okay, let's
Grand
go with a
opening,
bang.
grand
Literally.
opening, grand closing. I mean,
Okay.
get your tickets right now from Dice FM. Brent, I'm going to put the flyer in the description and
Quick plug, quick
all
plug.
of that stuff.
Always. Sorry, why are you
Know
here
what I
then? Let's do it. All right, nice.
Grab your
So,
tickets.
looking forward to seeing you guys there. Get the tickets. I think it'll be lit.
No,
Nah,
it
it
will
will
be
be.
lit. It's going to be sick.
Have you been to our live show before?
I haven't. Because every time you guys have a live show, I've always got something
haven't
else.
been to live show before?
I haven't.
Oh,
It's like someone's birthday or something. Because you guys tend to
Yeah.
do it in winter. You don't love a winter.
yeah.
A winter
We do
shindig.
actually, to be
You
fair, we
really do.
innit?
You really do. So it's like I've got a few birthdays in
Around
winter.
that time, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there.
It's going to be fun. I personally think our live shows are the best.
No, to be fair, I see the clips, I see the snaps and all that stuff. I'm like, oh wow, this looks really nice.
Yeah.
And I think there was one where the guys did a dance.
No, we did.
Was it from Best Man or something?
Oh, that was you, you Jason and Sid.
we just been Sid. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
No, it wasn't the best man. It was Love Is a House.
Yeah.
I think no,
No,
One-on-one.
One-on-one, yeah.
that's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
silly.
Love it, the house.
I know, I'm looking forward to it, man. It'll be lit.
Heart.
Love it. But guys, before we get on with the show, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join the community as well. community.thenewblack.com. It's lit. Are we okay? I've also got a special announcement for you guys. 1 second. So you guys know all week we've been telling you about our friends over at Black Seed VC who have something for the entire community to get behind. Today is the day. Today is the day, and it's not too late for you to be in attendance. So our friends over at Black Seed VC are launching their annual startup weekend today, the 18th of November, and they will be giving away 10,000 British pounds. It's a cost of living crisis. So they're going to be giving this to an existing business or a new business who's got a really, really good pitch. So bring your pitch game on. Just bring it. Bring your A game. £10,000 to be given to existing business or a startup with the best pitch. And there'll also be workshops all weekend as well. So weekend workshop starts today. But yeah, there'll be a pitching workshop as well all weekend. And our babe, our serial entrepreneur, our main girl, Danielle, will also be one of the panelists. And yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be sick. Be there. And you can get more details from the Instagram, Black Seed VC on Instagram. But yeah, guys, check it out. And let's get into the show. Let's get into our first headline.
Probably the biggest headline, the most pressing thing is Jeremy Hunt's autumn statement. So the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, has unveiled the contents of his autumn statement in the House of Commons. It has revealed tax rises and spending cuts worth billions of pounds aimed at mending the nation's finances. With the cost of living crisis rising at its fastest rate for 41 years, this is going to be a tough winter for many people. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has outlined plans designed to tackle rising prices and restore the UK's credibility with international markets. Hunt says his priorities are stability, growth, and public services, and is providing fair solutions despite taking difficult decisions. It will mean further pain for many, but the Chancellor argues that the most vulnerable in society are being protected. A breakdown on how it will affect everyone will be in the People's Journal, but to summarise though, in general, expect to pay more in tax and receive more support with energy bills. And there will also be a rise in national living wage, state pensions, and a host of benefits like PIP and universal credit. And the second headline is basically in response to the first, and the Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, branded Mr. Hunt's tax rises and spending curbs an invoice for the economic carnage created by Liz Truss's mini budget. The Chancellor insisted the measures were needed to help the UK weather an economic storm, and he said pensioners and the most vulnerable will be protected. The Office for Budget Responsibility's forecast painted a bleak picture, with the UK economy predicted to shrink by 1.4% next year. The autumn statement is a crucial test of confidence in Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, whose ruling Conservative Party is lagging far behind Labour in the opinion polls. In his statement, Mr. Hunt undid much of the tax-cutting mini-budget unveiled by his predecessor as Chancellor, Kwesi Kwarteng, only 55 days ago. As we know, that was followed by days of market turbulence and ultimately the resignation of Ms. Truss as Prime Minister after Conservative MPs revolted against her leadership. The Chancellor said income tax thresholds would be frozen until April of 2028, which means millions of people will be paying more tax. He said, I have tried to be fair by following two broad principles. Firstly, we ask those who with more to contribute more. And secondly, we avoid the tax rises that most damage growth. But Ms. Reeves said, by freezing tax thresholds, the Conservatives have picked the pockets of purses and wallets of the entire country. She said, a Conservative double whammy that sees frozen tax thresholds and double-digit inflation erode the real value of people's wages. Never again can the Conservatives claim to be the party of economic competence. And that's the end of the headlines.
Alrighty, well, let's get into our what you saying topic of the day.
So today's topic of the day, kind of like the others, when I was away this week, we've kind of touched on it a little bit here and there, but this was sent in by one of the listeners, viewers that's been with us from day one, apparently.
All right.
And they're saying, this is the question, right? And it's kind of in two parts because the main question is kind of a broad one. But do we need to take more accountability, responsibility when it comes to sex?
How are we not taking accountability?
I'm going to break it down.
Thank you.
All right. So the first one is, so I guess we can probably talk about this forever, right? But again, answer it first in the way you guys want to. But the first one is, should men have a say on abortion? And if so, how much? So this is what the person's saying. All right, I'll read it out, right? It may be a heavy topic to discuss, but it is harmful, is it harmful, rather, to be aware of people's standpoints on kids before having sex? Going off the premise that prevention is better than cure, should there be a vetting process beforehand of whether this person you're having sex with is the right person to potentially raise a child with? I think a lot of people are surprised when they find out they're pregnant, but are even more surprised if a man says he doesn't want to keep the child. If a woman is pregnant and has the option to opt out of motherhood, abortions, is it okay for a man to want to opt out of fatherhood? So
What kind of foolishness? Of course it's not the same.
But why? And
Because-
this is what we're here to discuss.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is my thing. What people need to do before they start having sex in an ideal world, which really people start making that world ideal, is actually having conversations you need to have. You can't, if we just go with the lust that's driving us, and then I get pregnant, but I don't believe in abortions. The same way I had the responsibility to tell you that, by the way, if I get pregnant, this is my situation, it's the same way you had the responsibility to tell me what it is.
Okay.
If I then decide, you know what, my faith, my beliefs, I don't want to get an abortion, I don't think that opting out fatherhood is equivalent to that. Because at the end of the day, my beliefs is why I can't do that now. Your beliefs is not why you don't want to be a father. You just don't want the responsibility. I think it's very different things. Do you get what I mean?
Is that the same?
But then,
why?
what if you don't want to have maybe? I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, you might just want to have an abortion not because of faiths and beliefs, just because you don't want a child. Like, do you know what I mean? The same way for
Yeah.
a guy,
Yeah.
it's not always the case. Why am I so confused? I know what I'm saying. Basically, it's not always the case that you want to have an abortion because of faiths and beliefs. You might just not want the child. So I think in that sense, if it's the same as the guy, then what then?
No, but what do you mean it's the same as the guy?
Because you said that with a guy, he doesn't want the child not because of faiths and beliefs. He just doesn't want to be a father, so he doesn't want a child.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's not always the case that with women they don't want kids because of faiths and beliefs. It's maybe I just don't want the child. So I'm saying because you're saying that his is different. So I'm saying in that situation, is it not the same?
So
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But my example was speaking to him saying because the girl wants an abortion is the same thing that he doesn't want to be a father. For me, it's not the same thing because if it's as an example, faiths and beliefs, you can't compare that to you not wanting to have a responsibility.
Yeah.
But really, with this conversation, ultimately, anyway, what it really does come down to is that, yes, you can both have a say. However, the woman will always have more of a say because it's her body that's carrying the child. Do you get what I mean? So it might be a thing where medically or just physically, I actually don't want to go through this trauma because pregnancy is a form of trauma on the body. It is. So it might be a case where I actually don't want to go through this trauma. So it might be a case where the guy's like, oh no, I want to have a child, which is I can't lie, I'm not ready to go through this trauma. Unfortunately, because say like it's like 0.5 and 5, the woman is always gonna have 6 points because she's the carrier. Do you get what I mean? But I don't think that someone wanting an abortion is the same thing as you opting out of being a father, because for me, abortion is like to prevent the child's being here. I think that once the child is here, unfortunately, and this is how a lot of people should think, this situation is now bigger than you. There's an innocent child that did not ask to come into this situation regardless. I personally think as a man, the respectful thing as a man is always to stand up to responsibilities that you have. There's so many things that happen to you in life that you didn't plan to happen. And then when it gets to your doorstep, you step up to the plate and you deal with it. It's just what it is. But people need to understand as well that with pregnancy, so with sex, comes a risk of STIs, comes a risk of pregnancy. Like, come on, it'd be like that. You can be on contraception. A woman can tell you and do all her due diligence and still get pregnant. Yeah. It's the way the Lord wanted, and here you are.
I agree with you in terms of the whole responsibility thing. I think that's what makes a man a man. Yeah. The fact that you can take on responsibilities and actually carry it out to the very end. Yeah. Right? But before we get to that point where I have to take on this responsibility, why is it that your word trumps mine? I hear what you're saying about, it's your body. Yeah. But we're still bringing a life into this world that will spend most of its time in the world outside of your body. Yeah. So it'll only be there for 9 months.
Yeah,
right?
but do you know what it is there? That's the answer there. The fact that it's my this is how it is. Because it's my body, that's it. That's the argument.
No, I get what you're saying, but what I mean is, like, it's still a life that's been brought into the world that you're asking me to care for example, for the rest of that child, my life, right? Yeah. But that child's only in your body for 9 months.
But do you know what it is?
And the effects it forever.
Do you know what it is? What it boils down to is just not thinking with your dick, to be completely honest.
That's really it.
Like, the amount of people I know that have had kids with people that they don't want to have kids with, and like they're suffering, they're in the pits now,
down in the mud.
All I do is this. because like I can't feel sorry for you because it was a choice that you made, right? And like you said, when it comes to like having sex, we know what what can happen. The consequences are either STIs. Do you know what I mean? You know that that pregnancy is going to be a thing. So for me, you accept the risk, and you're okay with it. And obviously, in the moment, I guess you don't think about it being an actual eventuality. Of course not. But when it is here, shit then, like, what can you do?
In casual relationships, these conversations are not being had.
That's the problem.
I don't think anyway.
And that's what it should happen.
It needs to be had. Because on a one night stand, you need to have that conversation because some of this is how people get reproduced.
Because it's the thing, because I think it's a case of like with men anyway, you can have a one night stand with someone and in your mind, there's no logic behind her keeping the child because you're just, you lot are thinking logically, right? Just on paper, babe, this does not make sense.
But the gag
However,
the gag
like, you don't know her history. You don't know whether she's had several abortions before. You don't know whether do you know what I mean? You just don't know. Like, so for me, you have to honestly think about these things when you guys are whipping out your ting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Having unprotected sex with a person who's just a one night stand is ridiculous.
You are living on the edge, like, you know what it is?
Ridiculous.
You're basically, you're on a mountain and down there you could fall, but you've only got one toe. on the mountain. You are off balance. You are on the
Yeah.
edge of
Like,
life.
that is literally risking it for a chocolate
Like
biscuit.
you meet someone
Nah.
at a club and you go home and you bareback and you bust inside.
Nah.
That's insane.
And you go about your business.
Anything that happens.
Yeah,
absolutely,
literally.
absolutely insane.
For me, it's the shock that happens when you find out the person's pregnant. What did you think was gonna?
I'll never forget. Yeah, I think it's my first year at uni.
I hope you're not gonna say.
Say it.
What?
Do it, do it, do it, do it, do
I don't
it.
think
Ignore
it's
Brent.
what-
Brent is doing
I don't
production
think
work.
it's what Brent thinks.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what Brent.
I want to know what Brent thinks.
Brent, I want to know what you think of
Yeah,
it.
we'll get to
Off
you.
air, though,
No,
yeah.
how it is he set up the response, right? It was like, let me tell you about my first one night stand.
No,
Oh, no.
That's not what I. That's not even what I got. Why did you go
did you go with
I
there?
think E-Man will tell us about his first one night stand.
Brent, I don't know.
Brent,
even-
that's what you would do.
Literally.
You would tell us about your first one night
I
stand.
don't even get how you got there, Brent.
You know, Brent.
All I was gonna say is, I
Default
remember
setting.
in uni, I was chatting with these guys. Gay was there as well.
Oh, okay.
Stephen was there.
Okay.
And this other guy was.
That's your brain up people's business.
No, it wasn't them that actually said
Oh,
it.
okay,
Right?
okay.
So this other guy, he was like, "Look, I never use condoms."
Ah,
That's what he said. We were looking.
as in, like, as a rule, this is how he
He said,
lives.
I just yes.
How many kids has
I
he got?
don't. I don't know. At that time, I don't think he had any. But he said that's just his life.
Yeah.
He doesn't like.
First of all, anyway, I think that's icky. You know,
But the thing is, it's not even the kids thing. I'm thinking that,
I think it's
like,
nasty.
ugh.
It's dirty.
You're probably leaking. Like, nah, I'm sorry.
Just in and out, anybody.
Literally.
Nasty stuff.
Stinks, man. That ain't it. That ain't it, y'all.
So what do you think? Lisa, do you think the woman should have the final say?
In regards to abortion, the final say yes, because it's her body and she's carrying a baby. So the final say yes, but the man should definitely have a say. He should definitely be included in the conversation, in the decision process. But if they were at loggerheads, then what she wants to do, to me, takes precedent over what he wants to do.
And do you feel like it's fair though? So even though that kind of makes sense, because at the end of the day, to get rid of the baby,
Yeah, she's the one that has to go
you
through
know
the
what I'm
actual
saying? She has
procedure.
to-
Yeah.
But in terms of it being fair,
It's not fair, but not everything in life can be fair, unfortunately. And this is one of them things.
is it something that can be made fair though?
How?
And
I don't
by,
think it
by,
can be.
by basically saying, look, we're both going to bring a child into this world, right? Essentially, by you choosing to have this child, I will have to change my life completely, just like you. So if, for example, you want to bring a child in the world, both of us have to say yes. And if, for example, we don't want to bring a child into the world, both of us have to say no. Is that
I
not
I
fair?
don't think it's ever gonna. No,
But should it be though?
no.
No.
No,
Why? Why no?
because again, like,
And you know what as well, yeah. You know how you said, "Oh, the baby's only gonna be in your body for 9 months." Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so dismissive because when you think about it, yeah, it doesn't stop after
It
that.
doesn't.
After I've
Yeah.
carried the baby, even like, I'm not saying that every mother breastfeeds and stuff,
Yes.
but in terms of like
No.
the bond that you have with the child, most children cling more to their mum than their dad. So it's like, even with you saying that your life is gonna change, my life is gonna change drastically a lot more than yours.
Yeah.
You can still get up and go to work.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? You get paternity leave, fair enough, but like your life doesn't change as much
much as
mine
it does women
Like, I don't
does,
even
yeah.
think it's even fair. So as much as you're saying like, oh, it's only those 9 months, I think that's even just like, it's even the bare minimum. Like, do you know what I mean? Like after that is when like the real work begins, and
yeah.
and mentally, physically, emotionally, like there's a lot of things I'm going to experience that
Yeah.
you won't even be able to relate to.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's ever going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it can ever be made fair.
Do you feel like that's the case no matter the circumstance of the two people involved? So, for example, let's just say the woman doesn't work, right? And she's just on benefits, for example. And this man, for example, he's the one providing everything. It's his resources, his work, everything. Do you feel like that same argument still applies?
What about life changing drastically?
Yeah, and being more drastic for the woman.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah,
Even though he's the one providing, going to work and have to do those hours for that
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, because
How?
you know it's
he
still
was-
Because you're going to work regardless.
He was already working before.
Exactly.
No, but I have to work more to now accommodate this child.
Not necessarily. You might not have to.
Not necessarily. You might be making enough money already to take care of the child.
But what if I am now?
Then a couple extra hours ain't going to kill you, big man.
No, it's not a couple extra hours. Remember, this is the rest of my life. So I have to look after the child till 18.
Yeah.
That's
but
what-
you know what it is? I think what we're missing here is like the other things, like even outside of when you actually give birth, when the child
Yeah.
comes out, there's other physical things that stays with women like long term.
Potentially, not always.
Most times the stats will show higher than none.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? So it's beyond like, yes, you're providing whatever, but she's still dealing with the things that she's having to deal with. And also as well, yes, you're working and working more, whatever, but she's essentially, because you're out working, she's raising a child. Like, you can't, that is still a job. Raising kids is a job.
Yeah.
It's a job you don't get paid for, but it's definitely is a job, because when you come home, because some men when you come home, the woman's been looking after the kid the whole day, whatever. When you come home and you want like a clean house, you want a meal on the table, you want all these things.
Wife.
It's so, mate, you want all these things, but taking care of a child is still hard work. And it's funny because when I watch like videos of men who are like full-time dads and stuff, it's like, wow, it's a lot. It's like, oh, is it now? Do you get what I mean? So yes, you're providing, but financial aid is not the only thing it takes to raise children.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not the only thing, but it's a very big thing.
It's a big thing, but I think
with finances lacking in children's lives, we see the effect of it. And the average person on the street who doesn't do anything with their life is because typically, a lot of the time, their family in the beginning, they didn't have the resources to take care of that child. So the resources that's going to be going into that child is a huge thing.
it is a huge thing, but so is raising the kid.
Yeah.
So is
Yes.
the mother's part. It's huge as well.
I'm not saying that's not a huge thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm basically just saying, why is that more important when we're looking long term about raising this child for the first 18 years?
I think it's equally as important.
Okay, so if it's equally important, which is what I'm trying to say, why is it that her say is more than mine?
Because she's
Because
the
God
one
gave the
carrying
woman-
the baby. She's the
Yes,
one who's going to
exactly.
give birth.
Like
Yeah,
that-
but we've got
this-
past that. You see what
No,
I'm
we,
saying?
No, we
we
haven't.
can't though.
We have.
We
How?
can't.
Because the
this
child
is what
is
it is.
here.
Yeah. No, but the reason why we can't is because, like, regardless of equality or whatever it is, like, as in terms of financial and me raising a child,
Yeah.
this is how God wrote it. That
Okay.
she's going to be the one to give birth to the child. So regardless of whatever situation it is, she's going to always have the final say. So a guy can't come to me and present to me, I'm going to have to work hard for the long blah, blah, and that will now be the reason why I'm like, okay, do you know what? I will have an abortion. No.
Okay, and everything you said makes sense because I'm one who likes to go with biology as well. Because the laws of nature dictate certain things for us in life. However, looking after the child, providing financially is not biology.
Yeah, but you have to get to that point first, though.
Which one? Which point?
As in the abortion discussion. So you're talking about finances stuff, but if you have even got there, as in the woman wants to have the abortion, then you bringing up this financial argument doesn't hold any weight at this point.
No, if what you're saying, if the child is basically in the woman, you're saying.
If the woman doesn't want to have the baby,
Okay, yeah.
right, she wants to have an abortion.
Oh
you-
yeah, then there's
Yeah.
point, isn't it? No, but we're talking about a situation where she wants to, where they're both
And
on
he doesn't
opposing
want to.
sides. Yeah.
So this is where she wants to.
she wants to keep the
and
baby,
he doesn't
and he
want the
doesn't.
baby.
Yeah.
So then, if he doesn't want to keep the baby, what's the finance argument then?
Because he
the
doesn't
baby's
want to
gonna be born.
financially have to.
And I have to look after the baby now because you're expecting me to anyway,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, so what was you gonna say?
No, go on.
I was just gonna say basically, like I said, the other thing is biology, right? Nature dictates who should have the ranking. But when it comes to providing for this child, I don't think that's biology. That's just law, right? So in terms of the law, should not me, but should a man in that situation say, okay, fine, you do have the say, and that makes sense to me. You're carrying the child. Everything you guys said for 9 months. But bringing this child into this world, you look after the child by yourself.
Do you know what someone actually said in the comments, which is so true as well? In a lot of most modern relationships,
Yeah.
financial input is actually required from both parents, and that's unless you're someone who's
course.
rich, like you're rich. Only the man works and the woman's a housewife. But again, even that, like just because she's a housewife does not mean, for me, that is very, very important work.
Of course
But
it is.
in a lot of situations, I'm also going to have to get my money up as well to take care of this child. Like, there's nothing that the man is going through that I'm not going through, if I'm being honest, more. Yes, you're working more, blah, blah, but I'm also going to be working and I'm also dealing with the biology part of it and I'm also raising this child and all that kind of stuff. For me, there's nothing, you're not being put out the way I'm not, like, it's not as if like I'm the only one, you're the only person who's getting put out.
Yeah.
It is affecting both of us.
It is. But again, this is why you have both decisions being involved in a particular thing. It's just like in politics, for example. Everyone's going to be affected by particular policies, right? But then you kind of gauge based on voting who you should give the priority to. So in this particular situation where I guess you're not saying it's 50-50. It shouldn't be 50-50,
No, but
right?
the thing is, the priority will always lie with the woman because she's the one that gives birth to the child.
This is what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
and that's why she should have the final say,
Yeah.
right? But what I'm saying is, going further now, the child is in the world. She is chosen. I've got the final say. I want to have this child.
Yeah.
Cool. Baby's born. Do I have the right to say I don't want to be a father?
If you're a piece of shit, yeah, you can. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. However, I personally believe that there is a special section in hell for men who abandon their children.
Yeah.
So because really, when you think about it, anybody can do whatever they want to do.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
But morally
Yeah.
and in a sensible way, you shouldn't, because you had sex with this person and you're very happy
Yeah.
to have sex with this person. This is now the product of that enjoyment you wanted to do for however long it was. So now you step up to responsibilities. When life happens, if you, for example, lose a parent and your parent was the only provider in your house, in your household, when your parent does, what do? You step up, you get a job, and you live up to it. In the same way, you had sex with somebody, life has come into the world. What do you do as a respectful human being? You step up to that and you deal with it. It's just that anybody can do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
However, you will be judged for what it is that you're doing.
And you think this is the case across the board, always? This should always be the case.
I think it should always be the case.
Okay, so in this, I know this maybe, like extremes, but like in this certain situation where you've got these, for example, famous entertainers, or whatever, they've taken the precautions, they've used condoms, this, that, and the third. There's consent, all of the above. Finish doing what you're doing, throw it in the bin. Girl takes the condom.
Turkey baster.
All of that beautiful stuff, that they like to do, yeah?
Jake was smart for that.
Should he still take responsibility as a father?
My thing is, this is why I said at the beginning,
Okay, go on.
some things are just bigger than you. Yes, the way in the way the child has come into this world is through betrayal, whatever it is. But that child the child didn't ask to be here. So as a respectable person, you should still, you might not have a relationship with the mother, you might not talk whatever, but you have something in place where the child is catered for, because all that's going to do is you're going to be like, well, the way she tricked me to have this child, cool, whatever. The baby is here. That baby does not know the story. That makes no difference to how this child grows up, to how your absence is going to affect this child mentally, emotionally, even physically. Some things are just bigger than you, unfortunately. Yes, the way in which it happened is deceitful. However, this child did not ask to be here. You cannot punish a child for the sins of the mother. I don't believe that under whatever circumstance. I don't care how it is a child came into this. The child is an innocent party for me. And I don't believe in any circumstance so children should be punished for what it is, for the deceit of their parents, for the hearts of their parents. I don't believe that at all.
Because the child is born, right?
Because the child is here.
Exactly. So the child is born, the child is here. And like you said, the child is here. You just got to deal with it, right? Okay. Before the child gets here, in this same scenario, should the man have more of a say? Before, it was consent. There was, no protection, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
But now, this is straight betrayal. She's gone and done everything. Should the man's say be amplified?
I'm not gonna I think
it should, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, I think your say should definitely be amplified. And I don't know if I completely, it's not like I don't agree with you, Esther, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of, obviously, it will never be me in that situation because I'm not a man yet.
Yeah.
But my head would be so hot.
Of course.
As in, like, you need to go to jail.
100%.
Because do you know what I
But if
mean?
she goes to jail, then you're taking care of the child full time. So for a child you didn't want, maybe you don't want her to go to jail.
The thing
What
is,
a shush.
the thing is,
So if she goes to jail, what happens to the child?
I'll look after the child.
Exactly. So you didn't want a child and you wanted to go to jail because you didn't want the child. So you want her to go to jail now so
Yeah.
you can have full-time custody of the
It's
child.
fine. She can sit in that cell and learn her
That
lesson.
sounds like a madman to me.
No, man.
And
you
I
didn't
think
want
she should be there
something-
for 18 years.
If you didn't want something, you're a tyrant. If you didn't want something, how is the person going to jail for that? My thing is, listen, I come from a single parent household, right? And I'm not gonna give up all my tea here. But for me, maybe it's a thing where it's personal to me. But even before that, I just don't think that any parent should ever walk out of their child's life because the child never asked to be in that situation. I'm going to die on that hill if it's with my last breath, like that racist woman did. This is just how it is. Like, no child should ever have to feel like unwanted or like you're a burden or anything. I don't believe that. I don't care the circumstances. I don't care however it happened. I just don't feel like it's fair on that child because I didn't ask to be here. This is beyond me. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah.
I hear what you're saying. You know what it is? The way the child is brought into this world, it makes it difficult for example, in this latter scenario, it's harder for the man now to empathize with a woman or to want to take care of the child because she's been deceitful, she's been conniving, she's gone behind his back, and she's, like you said, turkey baster, right? So in that situation, the question you were asking was, does he have more of a say? Yes, he should, because you've gone behind my back to try to conceive a baby. Yeah, you've been deceitful, you've lied, you've been treacherous, right? It's unfortunate now that you've put me in a situation where there's a baby involved now, right? And now, I believe I'm kind of with you, half and half, like a baby should be taken care of, but you've now made it way harder for me emotionally to want to get involved because you've hurt me now. You've been deceitful. So you put my back against the wall now.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want this baby. We had consensual sex. We used protection. You've now gone behind my back to do turkey baster, and now I got to take care of a baby that I didn't want.
Yeah.
That's not fair on the man at all.
Do you know what it is as well?
So it's a tough one. I get you. Now that the baby's here,
Yeah.
what can I do? If I
know
don't
what it
take
is
care of the
as well?
baby,
Can
I'm a deadbeat dad. But you deceive me.
Can I add something to that? Do you know what it is? I think a lot of times as well, like I get the hurt, I get the betrayal, I understand that, yeah. But I think that's because in society, when it comes to children, it's like we label the child that's the mother's child. I think if you can, yes, there's betrayal, yes, there's whatever, cool. However, if you can understand and take yourself out of that betrayal that you faced and understand that that is not her child, that is your child too, and that is half of you, I think that, yes, the child is here under deceitful circumstances, but in my opinion, that should make it a bit better for you because that child is half of you.
But let me
No,
ask
no,
you a
no,
question.
no,
Let me
but-
ask you a
but-
question though, yeah, because even going back to the thing about going to prison and you saying, so she should go to jail, you should be a full-time dad or whatever, yeah. So are you basically saying that she shouldn't go punished for what she done then? Because essentially you've committed a crime. Even if we're talking about consent, like you've taken my consent away from me because I didn't consent to having a child. And we both didn't because we both decided to use protection. And that wasn't the agreement. So you going behind my back and being deceitful, essentially is a crime. So because you going to jail means I now have to be a full-time dad, you shouldn't have to be penalized for your... Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, but again, in that situation, in that scenario, I'm just thinking about the child. So for me, if you're someone who is so against having a child, you're fuming that you got a child, and this child is here now. Like, I don't see how you're so angry that you wanted to go to jail for 18 years, that your anger then leads to you then being a full-time parent, which is what you don't want to do in the first place. That's what I'm going off
because hasn't she put him in a very precarious situation now? Because
that's fair, but how do you move? So if you're still hurt, you're still upset, you're still betrayed, how do you move forward with that child for 18 years that you're now the full-time parent?
you just have to step up, like you said, step up and do it. You've put me in a position where I have to now.
Okay.
You've put me in a position where I don't want to be in, but you've put me here, so I got to roll with the punches. No?
That's fair, but...
And remember, I'm not talking about this jail thing. That's their scenario. To me, it's not about the jail thing.
Yeah,
But
so that's why I'm stuck on the jail thing, because my thing is, you really do not want this child to the point where you hate the fact that she's done this to you, and you want her to go to jail. But her going to jail all that means is that you have more of a responsibility, because what you could do if she didn't go to jail, for example, I'm not saying again this is not deceit. I'm not saying this is not bad. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just focused on the jail and now you being a full-time dad. If she didn't go to jail, for example, you would maybe see the child maybe once a week or whatever, and you give whatever you can afford to take care of the child. If she goes to jail, you're with the child 7 days a week. You're in full financially, the burden is solely on you. Everything that you did not want to happen from this is now happening, and you're living in that. How do you live? Because again, for me, I'm thinking that if you're so angry about that, you wanted her to go to jail for 18 years, not even 5 years, not even 3 years, 18 whole years. If you're so angry at that, what are you pushing into this child as well? Like, I can't see how, if you're that angry, if you're upset, say, first scenario, if you're upset that, you got this child and you don't want to be around for this child, because you're so angry at what the woman did. You feel betrayed. Cool. You want to be absent father because of that betrayal. But how are you going to function if you still got that level of anger to the point where you send her to jail and you're going to be taking care of this child? That's going to be a damage. You're going to be projected on that child anger every single day.
No.
I don't see how you're going to healthily raise a kid that you did not want in the first place full time for 18 years.
but then
for me, I think the jail aspect should be removed from the whole scenario. I think it's conflating the discussion.
Okay, I when I say my point, I'll bring back the jail thing.
Cool.
Yeah, but in your point now, what would be an adequate punishment if we take away jail?
It's hard, bro, because like Esther's saying, if I didn't want this child and you've deceived me, the last thing I want now is full custody of a child I didn't want.
Yeah.
So you going to jail is going to make my life way harder than I ever anticipated, right?
Yeah.
So you go in jail, to me, isn't what I want in this scenario, because I don't want to take full custody of this child that I didn't want, that I didn't know was coming, right? So what is adequate punishment? I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. If that, God forbid, that'll never be me. But if that was me in that situation,
Yeah.
I'll be thinking she needs to go to jail right? And like you're saying, the anger or whatever inside of me, because she's in jail, my anger will be kind of like, okay, cool. It will subside a bit because the punishment is there.
Yeah.
And then I will look at the child as just my child, and I'll do everything by that child. But there's no way she can be living life and just enjoying life after she's put me in this position and expecting things to be all hunky-dory. That does not make sense.
But she didn't
to
put you
me.
in a position because you had sex with her, and that is a consequence of sex. Like
No, it's
this
not.
Whole,
No.
Pregnancy and is not a consequence of sex.
No. A consequence of consensual sex is what you said. Consent is not going into the bin to get the condom to then turkey base herself.
Oh, so that's the scenario.
Yeah.
All
What's it called?
right.
In court, right? You know when you go court for child support.
Yeah.
Does the judge take into account, like for example, would the judge take this whole story into account when
Deciding like the
deciding
verdict.
on child support, the amount, right?
I'm
Because
not too sure,
my sentiment was going to be that could be a punishment, not a punishment per se, but you don't need to contribute financially to her per se. That's something that could be
But-
could be
but
done.
Because you don't contribute to, like, you
to
won't
the
give child
child.
support.
No, you can take care of the child yourself. Like you can buy the child whatever you want to buy the child, but you don't
Okay, but
have
you
to
don't have to
send her
Money.
X amount of money every,
Every month.
month.
Okay, yeah.
Because of how this baby was conceived. Is that something that the judge would
Maybe, but that's
No?
not a punishment to me at all. Because I think there's women out there who had that arrangement with their partners or ex-partners, or whatever.
yeah
Like where it's like you don't need to direct debit standing order.
Yeah.
Just anything I ask for, please pay for it.
Yeah.
Or I'll pay for it. Here's a receipt. Pay.
Yeah.
That's not punishment.
'Cause
That's
you know
just
what it
normal
is?
life.
You know your question about like it's slim pickings in regards to what the punishment is going to be. Because what are you going to do? Beat her? Like you know what I mean? Like it's slim pickings. It's either she goes to jail, she doesn't. Like there's no.
This is why
What are
I'm
the
saying
punishment options? There isn't no punishment
Yeah,
options.
you're right. This is why I only see jail as being an
Yeah.
adequate option. There's no way a woman should feel comfortable enough to do that.
But then don't you? So do you have the idea? Do you have the view that a child needs its mother, or do you feel like there's things that the child needs from its
Yes.
mother that a man can provide?
Oh, 100%. I
So
think
in that
both ways,
situation, do you care about the child? Do you care about the child's upbringing and the child's well-being then?
yeah, but I believe.
So if she's in jail, how would that child? Don't you think that child's going to suffer from
yeah,
not having the mother?
I think in terms of the maternal love and all that, yes, the child will definitely suffer. But in terms of the other thing that woman will bring to the table, that child is lucky to not have a mother like
But
that.
then, and then also
100%.
it's a thing where it's like, I hear what you're saying, but also the mother, you didn't consider these things or care about the child's well-being because you made the
At
choice
all.
to do this.
Yeah, but then I
No,
feel like
but-
two wrongs don't make a right.
No, it doesn't, but I'm saying like,
But don't some wrongs trump?
we're thinking about how like you're saying, oh, the man's not considering like the child. The mum wasn't considering the child when she decided to break the law, so to speak,
Yeah.
to do that. Do you understand what I mean? So it's like, it's not saying that they both make it right, but she clearly weren't thinking about the child either. So we can't kind of paint it all on the man.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
get what I mean?
that's fair. That's fair. I'm not pinning all on the man. That's fair. But I just think for me, I will always just care about what the best situation is for the child. Like that will always be my
The go-to thing. Yeah.
not even my go-to thing. That's the most for me in any scenario where a child is produced, the child will always be the most important factor to me. I don't care how the child came to be. That will always be the most important thing for me. So for me, I just don't think that yes, the way in which the child came into the world is deceitful, whatever. But I just think if it is a thing where the child can benefit from both parents being there, if you feel like, you know, you're not someone who's trustworthy because of what you did is disgusting, blah, blah, that's fair. But I don't know. I don't know how your child's going to look at you if,
As in the man.
as in the man. So how the child's going to look at the dad knowing that you sent mum to jail because of my production.
No,
That's
not because
wild
of
to me.
production, but because
It
she's
is
a
because
criminal.
no, it is because of a
That's
production.
what it is.
And what's your criminal of producing a child? So either way, it comes down to the
Esther.
child.
No,
the child
it's
is.
it's not.
It's the production of the child. It is. It is. Like it is. I'm telling you from a child's.
but
it is.
how was the child's?
That's fair. But the thing is,
produced?
but the outcome of the crime was that I came to be,
Okay.
and you sent mum to jail because I came to be. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, my point still stands. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Can I ask you this question, please? Do you see, in the same way you asked me, do I think there's certain things only a woman can provide for that child?
Yeah.
Do you think there's only certain things only a man can provide too, without being biased?
I'm never biased. I say what I need to say. But I think there are things that a man does need to provide for a child, yes. But I don't think if I'm going to say like what it is that a child needs more.
No. I'm not asking for the more. I'm just asking.
No, I'm telling you the more.
Okay.
If I'm telling you what it is that a child needs more, then yeah. But I think there are definitely things that a child does need that a father can only provide for a child, yes.
Okay.
But the child can, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. So if a man rapes a woman and she's a Christian, she's a Muslim, she's a believer,
Yeah.
and she's like, I can't, no matter what, I can't kill this child.
Yeah.
I need to bring this child into the world.
Yeah.
Should that man be forced to go to jail first, or as in remain in jail, or should he be allowed out in the world to work and provide for that child? What's more of a priority to you?
Why would a rapist be walking free?
Because he's got a responsibility.
He's a rapist, though. I don't get this question. It's not a question in my opinion. He's a rapist.
But it's exactly the same thing as the woman.
She didn't rape him. Yes, again, I'm not saying
Esther.
No,
she didn't rape him.
Not-
No, but it's
yeah,
like-
not-
No,
It's
wait,
not
no,
physically.
because we're not going to pause there and have it be as if I said what I said. No. You're telling me a man, sorry, trigger warning, by the way, trigger warning. He's raped a woman.
Yeah.
He's a rapist, fine. A woman stealing a guy's sperm after that, yes, that should be a crime, absolutely.
Okay.
But I'm not doing criminal Olympics. For me, you give me this example, and the example that we were talking about earlier, it's not making, it's apples and oranges to me.
Criminal Olympics would be if I'm saying to you, what's worse?
No, but you're
Should they be
saying
in prison for different times.
No, but because
I'm just
I
saying-
said no. Because I said your question came because I said about the biological responsibility as a mother, blah 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 blah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying to me
And also-
to choose between him going to jail and him having responsibilities.
Yeah. Because there's certain things that only he can provide for that child.
I can't take that question seriously.
It's
That's
the
what I'm
same
gonna say.
thing.
It's not the same thing.
How is it not the same thing? You said, for example,
Stealing sperm
yes.
and sexually assaulting a person. Maybe it's just me. In my book, that's very different.
Okay, sorry.
That's very different.
Watch this, Esther.
And that's not even a comparison.
Let me make it more easier then. What's that thing called? Stealthing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's considered rape, right?
Yeah.
It is
Let's-
rape.
Thank you very much. Even better. So in that situation, he has done the whole stealthing thing, right? Or he's put a hole in a condom or something. She don't know,
Yeah.
right? It's still consent, right? But obviously she doesn't know, so it's
Yeah.
not really consent. Cool. That child is pregnant. That woman says, I'm a religious person. I am not getting rid of this child. Should he go to prison or should he stay around and work and provide for that child, take over responsibility, and give to that child the only thing he can give?
It's stealth and rape.
Yes.
So we're back to the first.
What she did is rape too.
We're back to the first scenario that we said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not taking part in this.
The thing is, you know what it is, yeah? The acts are different, 100%. Like the way you go about doing it. I'm not even going to compare a man raping a woman to a woman turkey basting, right? But the point he's trying to make is, in all these scenarios, like it was wrong.
Okay.
It's wrong, innit? The turkey basting, the rape, the stealthing, it's all wrong. So he's just trying to parallel. He's not trying to say one is worse than the other. Because I'm sure in his eyes, you know, he can. You know what I mean? Like we know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
This is why I reduced
Yeah.
it down to the whole put a hole in the condom.
Stealthing,
thing.
yeah. I think stealthing maybe is a better parallel
Yeah.
example than rape because we all see rape as
Exactly.
You
Not
know.
going down an alleyway. None
yeah,
of them.
we don't even have to go.
Okay.
We don't even have to go down that that road, right? But in terms of stealthing, I think that is a better comparison, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still don't agree.
Right. Yeah.
All right, say the last take, please, Gina. Your thoughts, and we can move on.
Oh, yeah. I think I've kind of said my thoughts. To be fair, what was even the original question about responsibility? I
Yeah,
feel like we've just literally. I think we definitely need to take a lot more accountability when it comes to sex and use our brain and not our penises or vaginas. And I guess based on the circumstances about men having more say, I think it's subjective and it depends on the scenario. Yeah.
Cool. Makes sense.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get into our next headlines.
So, a Dutch court has found 3 men guilty, pardon me, trigger warning here, A Dutch court has found 3 men guilty of murder for shooting down a passenger jet over eastern Ukraine in 2014, killing 298 people. The court found that a Russian-made missile supplied from Russia and fired by an armed group under Russian control brought down the flight MH17. The men, 2 Russians and 1 Ukrainian, were found guilty in absentia and sentenced to life in jail. A 3rd Russian was acquitted. The missile attack was one of the most notorious war crimes in Ukraine before allegations of atrocities there became an almost daily reality. Many of the victims' families believe if the world had reacted differently then and taken a tougher stance against Russia 8 years ago, the invasion of Ukraine and the geopolitical instability that has followed could have been avoided. The judges ruled that it was a deliberate action to bring down a plane, even though the 3 found guilty had intended to shoot down a military aircraft and not a civilian aircraft. Igor Girkin, the military leader of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic, was convicted of deploying the missile and seeking Russian help. Sergei Dubinsky was found to have ordered and overseen the transport of the Buk missile launcher. Leonard Kachenko was found to have overseen the Buk, acting on Dubinsky's instructions. Oleg Pulatov was the only one of the 4 accused to have legal representation at the trial, and the judges acquitted him, although they found that he knew about the missile. On the 17th of July 2014, 298 people, including 80 children and 15 crew members, boarded the Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 to Kuala Lumpur at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport. The plane was cruising at 33,000 feet over Ukraine. It was the early days of Russia's efforts to control part of the country. At the time, this was a relatively low-level conflict zone, but fighting had recently expanded into the air. In the preceding months, a number of military planes had been shot down. And our next headline is about Charlize Theron, and she's been criticised for saying Afrikaans is a dying language. So the Hollywood star Charlize Theron has faced a mountain of criticism for calling her mother tongue Afrikaans a dying language. Theron joked that it was spoken by about 44 people and was not very helpful. She made the comments on the Smartless podcast saying she grew up in South Africa speaking only Afrikaans before learning English at the age of 19, which is why she speaks it with an American accent. Some of the millions who speak Afrikaans in South Africa were furious. Steve Hofmeyer, who sings in Afrikaans, says the language boasts some of the best swear words and tells Times Live that Afrikaans is alive and well. He also decried the move to change the teaching medium from mainly Afrikaans to English at universities that were historically Afrikaans. Some commentators on Twitter have accused Charlize Theron of being ashamed of her roots or seeking validation from black people, while others welcomed her words because Afrikaans has a strong association with apartheid and was once used to oppress Africans. Afrikaans is highly politicized in South Africa because of its role during the decades of white minority rule when a series of racist policies known as apartheid was introduced to suppress the country's black majority. Professor Patika Ntuli, an artist and cultural analyst, said Afrikaans is an African language that was formed here in Africa, but it became a language that polarized people under apartheid. The imposition of the language in schools was the main reason behind the 1976 Soweto uprising against the apartheid regime, in which at least 170 people were killed, mostly school children. It is the mother tongue of 13% of South Africans, mainly white South African descendants of Dutch, German, and French settlers who arrived in the 17th century, as well as mixed-race people who are known as coloureds in the country. During apartheid, only English, Dutch, and Afrikaans were official state languages, and indigenous languages were suppressed. But when white minority rule ended in 1994, South Africa adopted 11 official languages. Many South Africans today say not enough progress has been made towards true language equality, including students who are campaigning for more university classes in African languages. And that's the end of the headlines.
Nice. All right, let's get into Word on Road. I mentioned Saweetie teasing a new single. Well, her EP is actually out. In terms of review and stuff, Mr. Rotation will take us through that on Monday.
Unfortunately, not joking.
I said, don't set me up.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, so I know it's like 6 songs and stuff, but people have basically been, it's been, like I reported the other day, it's basically been divided. But obviously now, like, people got lyrics and stuff to reference. And the first song is called "Don't Say Nothing."
Oh, it's only 16 minutes. All right, that's good.
I was very short.
Yeah, it's very short.
You said 16
He
minutes.
said 16. He said, "Thank God."
Go for that.
But basically, so the first song, "Don't Say Nothing." So it's been a lot. So people have been talking about how she does talk about her relationship with Quavo, and people are like, the man is grieving. Why would you do this? And but people are like, yeah, but he didn't care about her mental health when he was out here on a tour, spilling tea he shouldn't have been spilling, basically. And then the other side of the argument has been, yeah, that's basically been the side of the arguments and stuff. And obviously the Lil Baby stuff and whatever. But her first song on there, "Don't Say Nothing," she said, so in an interview recently, she said how it's, so the lyrics says, "Don't you tell anybody we're fucking, shut your mouth, don't say nothing," basically. And she said for her, the inspiration behind that song is that it's a memoir, it's my memoir as a single woman dealing with men who talk too much. I put all of my experiences into one song. The studio is definitely therapy. And then, yeah, she said this is just her finally talking about all of this stuff. So I think in the beginning of the year, she had a song with her. And then since then, she's literally been radio silent. And obviously, she took time away from social media as well. You know, she loved the TikTok and stuff. So yeah, I guess she's back. And I know that she kind of teases about like even more music coming out kind of thing. So this is just basically her addressing what needs to be addressed. And then in the interview as well, she also talked about Takeoff passing away. And she said, "It honestly felt so surreal. I feel like the world stopped. He was a wonderful human being. I mean, wonderful, like hella dope. My heart, my condolences go to his family. It's just really surreal. I feel like hip hop is in a really early state right now." And yeah, she talks about, enjoying single life, and she likes that, she's enjoying single life and kind of doing her own thing and just doing what she needs to do, really. But yeah, I'm glad she did this kind of thing. And she said talk about how this EP basically just is all of her experiences and just her life story, I guess, basically. But yeah, we'll go through it in more detail on Monday. And my next bit of news is Black Excellence, which is about Saka, the Arsenal player.
Big up,
Yeah.
Saka.
Yes. Minute sports. But yeah, so basically he paid for 120 children to have life-changing operations in Nigeria, which is absolutely amazing. So in an interview, he said, "For me, it's important, that every child has the same opportunity to achieve their dreams. And if I can do anything to help, like the surgeries, I really want to do it. So it was very important for me to do this. It makes me very happy, especially when I see the kids happy. I can see their parents are happy and they go on with their futures and achieve their dreams and have every right to do it. So yeah, I'm happy and I just want to do more and more and more to help as much children as I can. I don't think this was about me. It was about, obviously, the 120 children. So as long as we satisfied them, this was more important, and I think we did." He says, yeah, he's happy, and I just feel like it's about finding the right platform and trusting the right people to deliver this for you. And I'm happy I found you, Big Shoe, and you helped me deliver this project. So he says, "Together, Big Shoe, our goal is to help the children." And I just absolutely love that. I love when people get like when they work hard and they get the benefits and they use their wealth and their riches and their influence to help the people that, need it the most, especially in their home country. Because you guys know the medical sector in Nigeria is a flipping joke and a flipping half. But clearly the government don't seem to care because they'd be flying out to get treatments. So yes, I'm glad that, he can do that for them, and the families must feel really, really blessed. And Gina, do you want to do the last one, please?
Okay, so word on the road is apparently Stormzy and Maya Jama are back together.
Oh, is
Love
it?
to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Is that from a scoop that you got?
But let's not do that.
So
It's a word on the road.
It's word on the
so
road.
yes.
Yeah.
No, it's on the news, the articles and everything.
Yeah, it's on the blogs.
It's on
No,
the
what I mean
blogs.
is, have you heard?
Don't
something?
worry.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that.
Yes.
Don't worry about that, though.
Don't worry about
it,
sweetheart. Listen, please. I'm not among. But anyway, yes, apparently they're back together. And I love that for them. Do you know?
I love it. I
actually
love it.
loved when they were together. I actually loved them
Yeah.
as a couple and stuff. And
Question though. Question: How soon after a engagement do you get back with your ex? Because it's given too soon.
okay, fair enough. I mean, it's word on the road, isn't it? Like I'm saying. So
No, but if it is true,
Yeah.
then what's your thoughts on that? Considering
When
she was
did it-
just engaged to Ben Simmons.
when was it again?
I don't know the
Was
details.
it this
I
year?
think it was like earlier this year. If
Oh, it
anything.
was this year.
I think so.
Yeah,
Hey,
remember we had Bedriano as well, and I think that was.
Oh, come on.
Oh no, it was after Bedriano, so
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
No. But
No,
remember,
so-
Bedriano is when people clock that they're broken up.
No, that caused the breakup.
No, it caused
No. You're hilarious, man.
I don't know what word you're on, but
As
He said
in,
it
as in-
caused
said
the
it
breakup.
caused it.
Aha.
that's a fact.
obviously we don't know all the intricacies, but
Yeah.
their breakup was announced after the whole Bedriano thing.
Yeah. So they were engaged. So they were engaged at the beginning of the year, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bedriano was when?
Yeah, just
August.
a couple. Yeah,
It was last month or 2 months ago.
How is it?
Yeah.
yeah.
So in
Sounded
you
good,
girls'
bye-bye.
opinion, is
Yeah.
it too soon after an engagement breakup to get back with your ex?
You don't know how I roll.
Yeah, you know.
I'm not. If you think I'm gonna let an engagement keep me from finding my future husband, you
I'm
got
dead.
nothing coming.
I hear it. Do you know what? Yeah, I think. Yeah. I do think it
Because
might.
if you're Ben
No,
Simmons,
no.
you're
Obviously,
like, raw already.
he's
No, but
leaving.
he's not actually
But
saying-
you
he's
know
not
what?
walking down
Yeah.
the aisle.
No, but you know what? Also, it
Like
might be
relationship.
number one. We don't know why they're no longer engaged. We don't
Yeah.
know, like, because it could legit be a case of Stormzy's the love of my life.
Yeah, it could be.
Like I need,
Listen.
like I'm not gonna lie. Stormzy's the love of my life.
I mean,
I need to go and explore.
I will come off the aisle to go and buck the love of my life and get straight in a relationship with him. Because you know what? Some people you don't need to get over. I've been over this. I was never really in it. I was just doing it for whatever
That's what I'm
I was
asking.
in it
Because also remember, you see
Yeah,
how
obviously
they
we don't
say-
know the nuances.
Yeah, of
but,
course.
for. Yeah, but I don't think it's ever too. I don't think it's too soon. My opinion.
All right, so
If you're healed and you're actually in a healthy place to move forward with that person.
so you wouldn't feel type of way if someone that you broke up with
Yeah.
was in another relationship a month later.
Yusuf.
You know
No,
what?
wait, sorry. They be in relationship when I'm
When
in
in the
relationship.
relationship.
with them.
So
What you
afterwards,
talking about?
Don't add that variable. Don't
Okay.
add the variable.
All right, no,
Don't add the
hear me out, hear me out,
variable.
hear me out,
It's
hear me
a
out.
compliment if he leaves me and then moves on.
For real.
in the
He's
streets.
even doing me a favor.
Do
Thank
me
you.
a favor.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
No, hear me out.
No,
I'm not gonna lie.
You're
I'm not,
painting
no,
the scenario
I'm-
in your favor.
I said I'm not gonna lie.
Alright, go on.
Like, of course I feel some type of way.
Yeah.
But like, I think in that kind of situation, it's just evident that you were not the person that he was meant to be with.
And that's right.
Like, you know, when you think about it,
Can't
yeah,
fight
like
it.
there's situations where like a girl can be with a guy or a guy can be with a girl, whatever, for like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
You've been together for time,
Yeah.
right? And there's no progression in your relationship
Mm-hmm.
in terms of marriage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then within 6 months to a year, you hear that my guy's now proposing and engaged to another girl and they're getting married. You're
She's
thinking,
happiest, you know.
literally, and it's like sometimes you have to accept that you're the pillow fluffer in the like you fluff
You're
somebody
actually-
else's you fluff
you're the husband
somebody
fluffer.
else's pillow.
Yeah.
I fluffed it for you, so now my dear, you can lie.
I think as the
Everyone's
person,
done it in life though. It
that's
is what
the
it
thing.
is.
Yeah, I
I
hear
think
it.
as the person who was left, obviously you feel like, oh wow, you moved on quick. But the reality again is that some people move on even before you get broken up with. Some people have already moved on. Do you
Yeah.
get me? So that's just the reality. I just think for me anyway, personally, I just think love is where love is, and if your love is over there and it means the day after you left me, have fun. All the best with that. With that endeavor, your endeavors.
I respect it, man.
You should have happy married life.
I respect it. I respect
The
it.
game's the game.
It-
Sometimes you gotta charge
That's
it.
really it. That's actually what it comes down to. The game is really the game.
And are you really, as the person who's trying to move on, for example, are you really caring about what your ex is thinking?
Of course not. I'm happy about to go
No,
on my
I'm saying-
honeymoon.
No, I ain't saying they're considering their feelings. I'm
Yeah.
saying how would you feel as the ex
As the
looking at
the one who was
looking at
left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's never nice, but it is.
It is what it is. Like you're gonna be in your feelings, of course. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'd be ecstatic about it. I'll probably cry.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Like I'll be upset about it and be on my what's it called, my single tour. You
Yeah.
Listen.
I'll be outside.
Outside.
on
I'll be
tour.
Outside.
Yeah, literally, but
But you know what? It's because some people as well,
can you
like
do?
some people, yeah, they break up and the person moves on like 9 months and they're like, wow. It's like, ma'am,
yeah.
it's been 9 months.
Literally.
You should have moved on. It just is what it is. Do you know what I mean? But game is a game, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they are back together. Well, if it's healthy for them to be.
Yeah.
Because it just seems lovely. It seems beautiful. It seems pure. It just seems nice. Obviously, we're not in the business, but what we see, they both were like able to like encourage each other. They just leveled up together.
And do you know what I really
That's
like, right?
important.
I like the fact that they both kind of went their separate ways and did their own thing.
And did their own work that they need to do.
And through that, they've still come back together. So it's not a case of like, they were kind of still lingering, so they never kind of separated. Do you get what I mean? So
My
you
favourite
don't,
love story, you
so you
know?
don't really know if it's like authentic. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
like you know, like if
absolutely.
you break up with your partner, but you don't really break up and you're kind of like still lingering and
Yeah.
talking to each other and meeting up and stuff like that. You don't have that clean break to
know that I
to
really
know,
want
yeah,
this.
to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
clarity of okay, do you know what? Is this actually meant to be a thing? Like you go your separate ways, and then
Yeah.
if you come back, then for me it's like it's meant
It's
to
meant to
be.
be.
Yeah.
Very love story, man. I love it, man.
Like they say, like if you love something, you let it go and it comes back, you know it's there to stay.
Come on.
That's right. That's
Bars.
a word. That is a word.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Let's get into the People's Journal.
Let's do it. All right, people. Welcome to the People's Journal, where I give you the news from an economics point of view. As we spoke earlier about the Jeremy Hunt autumn statement, I'm basically going to give more information on that, right? Because this affects everybody. There's not one single person on the planet, in the country, that this autumn statement doesn't affect. So I'm going to go through quite a few points. It's going to be a bit of a lengthy one. All right, so when it comes to taxation and wages, right, certain things have changed, right? So right now, the legally enforceable minimum wage for people aged 23 and over has increased from £9.50 to £10.42. A lot of these things, by the way, are going to be coming into effect in April. But this is what the situation is. So minimum wage has gone up from £9.50 to £10.42 an hour. State pension payments and means tested and disability benefits as well. That's all going to be increasing in line with inflation. Remember, before we spoke about this trust and quasi-quarting not being sure, or at least kind of putting it out there that they're not going to confirm if it's going to be rising in line with inflation. Jeremy Hunt and Rishi Sunak have now implemented that. Also, apart from in Scotland, the top 45% additional rate of income tax is going to be paid on earnings over £125,140 instead of £150,000. Let me say that again. So apart from in Scotland, the top 45% additional rate of income tax will be paid on earnings over 125k. So when you hit that barrier, that's when you start getting instead of 150. So that means more people are now going to be falling into that 45% tax bracket now. So that's more money, obviously, for the government because of the situation we're in. Income tax, personal allowance, and higher rate thresholds are going to be frozen for a further 2 years. So your personal allowance, I believe, what is that? It's about, I think it's like £12,000. So I'll get the figure in a bit. Basically, that's going to be frozen until April 2028. National insurance, inheritance tax thresholds are also going to be frozen for further 2 years until April 2028. Tax-free allowances for dividends and capital gains tax, also that's due to be cut next year. I believe he said it's going to be cut down to £6,000 and then further again down to £3,000. So again, just everyone's going to be paying more tax, basically. When it comes to local authorities, all of your councils are allowed now by law to raise them by 5% a year without a local vote. So before, that used to be 3%. If any council wanted to increase it over 3%, they have to do a local vote and see if everyone's cool with it. Now, that's up to 5%. So basically, councils are more likely going to basically just say, look, guys, let's just up the council tax 5%. When it comes to energy, again, we spoke about this. Well, I spoke about this, I think, last time I was here. If you remember, we're talking about Ofgem. I think maybe about 2 months ago, we're talking about Ofgem being responsible for that energy cap, and it was going to be about 3,800 or something. Liz Truss and Kwesi Kwarteng came in and implemented energy cap so that the average household bill would be about 2,500, and that would be for about 2 years, I believe. Sunak and no, I don't even think Sunak was there at the time, but Jeremy Hunt anyway, when he came on board, he said, we're not going to extend this for the actual 2 years. It will actually stop after a year. It will stop after 6 months. So in April, it will stop and that potential cap will be lifted and people are going to be paying, for example, up to about £4,000. Well, now they've extended the cap, which is good, but it won't be 2,500 from April. It will be £3,000. So long story short, the energy price cap has been extended for 1 year beyond April, but it's been made less generous. So the typical bill will be about £3,000 a year instead of 2,500, which is going to be from now up to April. Households on mean tested benefits will be getting £900 support payments next year. Windfall tax on profits of oil and gas firms will increase from 25% to 35%, and that's going to be extended until March of 2028. there's going to be a new 45% tax on companies that generate electricity, and that's going to be applying from January as well. Also, with regards to inflation and everything, the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, so basically I think I said this again last week or so, they basically said, look, we're officially in a recession, right? Which means basically the economy is slowing down for 2 quarters in a row. Whenever that happens, you're basically in a recession. That's the definition. But what they're saying is they're predicting growth for this year to be about 4.2%. The size of the economy is still going to be shrinking by about 1.4% to 2023, but it does predict that there will be some growth overall, so 4.2%. UK inflation right now is predicted to be, well, at the moment it's 11.1%, if I'm not mistaken. But it's predicted to be 9.1% this year overall, and next year they're saying it should be down to 7.4%. Unemployment is expected to rise from 3.6% to 4.9% in 2024. But the government's given itself 5 years to kind of hit the debt and spending targets instead of the 3 years currently. So the amount of money that I guess everyone was kind of expecting the government to kind of throw into certain areas to kind of bring all of that down in terms of the debt and everything, they've given themselves a bit more leeway, so it's going to be an extra 2 years. In terms of government spending now, what they're saying is the scheduled public spending will be maintained until 2025, but then it's going to grow more slowly than previously expected. NHS budget is going to be increase by 3.3 billion a year for the next 2 years. And also that's the same for schools as well, spending on schools. That's going to be increased by 2.3 billion. So hopefully we're not going to be getting teachers striking and things of that nature that we were reporting on last week. Defense spending is going to be maintained at 2% of national income. And what else is there? When it comes to, in terms of business and all that type of stuff, in terms of helping people with reliefs and just supporting businesses, basically, support worth £13.6 billion over the next 5 years is going to be put out there to help firms with business rates, right? Import taxes are going to be removed on 100 goods, including some food products, for 2 years. So hopefully the amount of money we pay on certain goods is going to either reduce or at least will not grow as rapidly as they were before, making it more affordable for us. And that's the main things. When it comes to social housing rent, that's going to be increased. Well, social housing rent increases in England are going to be capped at 7% from next April instead of 11%, which is due to inflation. And also, this is something I was going to talk about that will affect somebody like Margs, because I know he wants to get an electric car. What they're saying is now electric cars are going to be paying road tax.
That's a scam, you know.
Okay.
Isn't that one of the incentives to get people to get electric cars?
There you go. So from 2025, yeah. Well, so yeah, it's not right now, but from 2025 they're going to be paying road tax.
Honestly,
You know what I'm saying? Because the cars are so much more expensive as well.
Literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it even more expensive?
Yeah, yeah. A lot
Really?
more. Like, yeah.
Do you think they will lower the price because of that?
Well,
Of the cars?
Not.
No.
road tax is not a lot though.
But
Depends,
still,
some cars.
it's still something we didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
It's an additional.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have road tax. Yeah. That was one of my Googles actually when I was buying. I said, I don't want any additional costs that I don't need to be paying for. Literally. Oh, is that why? Is it? I just felt with luck.
It's a temporary.
Okay.
All right, just letting them know.
All right, bro.
Just letting them know. Just letting them know.
Both of y'all need to get a good.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I love bread, you know.
Yeah.
I actually love bread.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just need to go into a bit more detail with the whole income tax here, because that's pretty much the single biggest source of funding for the government, right? All comes from our income. Again, this is what I keep saying to the people. Let's vote for a government that wants less of our taxes. But anyway.
Who are you voting for next?
I don't know, you know.
How can you say you don't know? You just told people to vote for people. You're a comedian, you know. I said I don't know.
We have to see how things go, innit? It's still early days.
This is early days. You come in with nothing but bad news every day, and this is early days.
Now, to be fair, like the Tories, all the positives that you would want, right? Sorry, all the positives that I guess could be attributed to the Tories right now are just going. They're just going.
The people them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hate to see it.
And you notice as well, just a little slight deviation, when that the Shadow Chancellor, was criticising the budget, she wasn't necessarily criticising the budget for what it was. She was basically saying she was criticising the fact that we have to have a budget because of Liz Truss and Kwesi Kwarteng and stuff, and how the Tories messed certain things up. I say all that just to say, a lot of these things is probably stuff that Labour would have done as well. Okay. So you know what I'm saying, to try and make things easier for the public. So again, like I was saying last week, I believe, it's almost like you've got Labour versus Labour in there. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, obviously not as extreme as that. But anyway, yes, like I was saying, personal allowance is 12,570. Yes, that's a more specific figure. So anyone who earns more than that is going to be paying tax. So yes, like I was saying, he's freezing the threshold at which people start paying higher tax rates for the same periods, and they were already frozen until 2026. So essentially, guys, how this affects us is that because the thresholds are the same, if you get an increase in wages, you're going to be paying more tax, essentially. Typically, in the most ideal situation, you would want the thresholds to kind of increase with your pay. So if, for example, the threshold was at £10,000, right, and inflation was at 10%, you would want the first tax bracket to be next year 10,100. So you kind of fall into the same bracket. But he's freezing that, so it's going to be 10,000. When you get your increase of 10% to make your wage, whatever it is, 10,100, you're going to be paying tax on that 100, if that makes sense. So everyone's going to be paying more tax, essentially. That's just another way of basically taking more money from you, essentially. So yeah, so the basic rate right now is between 12,571 and £50,270. The higher rate taxes currently is and that basic rate is going to be frozen to 2028, right? So that's personal allowance of 12,570. That's frozen until 2028. The basic rate, which is 20% of 12,571 to 50,270, that's going to be frozen to 2028, and that's 20% of your income. The higher rate now is from 50,271 to 150,000. Right, that's what it is currently. That's now going to change, like I was saying earlier. That's going to be reduced to from 150,000 to 125,140 pounds, and that is 40%. So everyone who thought they were kind of safe, right, from going into that additional rate, which was over 150,000 pounds, but it's now over 125,140, is basically going to be in there now, if that makes sense. Am I saying that clear for everyone? Gina, you follow me? Yeah. All right, cool. Are you, sir?
I'm here.
That's right.
I'm with you.
So, yeah.
Yes, I am.
So, basically, everyone, again, like Esther pretty much said, it's bad news, isn't it? It's just everyone's going to be paying more tax. But hopefully it doesn't last as long. When I say as long, as in for the next 20 years, it's going to be there for a while, isn't it? It's going to be there for a while. But hopefully things kind of... Huh? Hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. What else was I going to say? When it comes to... Oh, do you know what? Remember we were talking about Boris Johnson? Yeah? And we were talking about the reason why he decided to not go into... to not pursue him getting back into Down Street. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember?
Earnings.
Huh?
His earnings. Isn't it?
Earnings, yeah. You know, he did a speech the other day. You know how much he got? He got £276,000
For a speech.
That's
Do you know what's annoying?
Where did he speak?
in America.
He looks like his suit is like off the back of a truck. His hair's not
You know,
brushed.
branding wise, yeah, I don't understand. I
don't
genuinely
get
don't get
it.
it, and I've never got it. Like it really puzzles
that?
me. Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson. So, you're not even getting what you're paying because that man, his suit is off the back of a truck. He don't brush his hair.
I was told that it was
Nothing.
so that the public, so he seems less threatening and that the public endears to him because he looks like a buffoon. So you endear to someone who looks like a buffoon.
You know how funny
That
the word buffoon
word
is?
is banter.
Yeah, because look at him, like
It's like a buffoon.
the button's done, the wrong
Yeah,
button's
like
done.
wrong and
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He
you
just
look.
always seems. No, but for me, it's like I can't take someone like that as serious though. I don't. Do you know what I mean?
No, but apparently that's why he does it on purpose. That's what I was told. He does it on
I feel like
purpose.
do you know, he does it so well. I feel like it's natural to him.
It's to disarm him. I heard.
Yeah.
So he comes across non-threatening, easy to speak to, personable. That's what I was told.
£275,000.
Yeah.
Is it pounds or like naira or something?
Pound.
Last time there was
276,000 in fact.
70. Wow. Anyway,
200, and that was
one day,
basically
guys.
Amen.
Amen.
for a speech to American insurers. Yeah, he had a nice conference, man. And his speech was
Niggas be late and doing R&B sessions. This is
I think this is a decent little bop still.
sorry,
people don't
man.
know what you're talking about.
Marx is late. And Marx is
Oh,
doing
that's Marx.
Is that Marx? Of course it is.
Oh, I thought that
is
was.
it? I didn't think it was
No.
Is it coming?
This is not Marks.
Okay,
I knew it.
Oh,
I didn't think it was Mugs.
I
He
think
would turn up.
would Mark roll up at this late?
No, he wouldn't. He would not.
My bad. Sorry, guys, if you watch this back.
Mugs literally catching strays for no reason, you know.
I love Marx.
But yeah, man. So basically, he gave a 30-minute speech, and then he had a 45-minute sit
Q&A.
down chat with the person. So yeah, man. An hour and 15 minutes, £276,000.
God, I see what you're doing.
I
For
see what you're doing for others, you know.
Thank you.
But do you want to take on the responsibility of the country?
No, hell no.
I'll be
There you
honest.
go.
No.
I would. I'd take on a lot more responsibility for less. Give it to me.
Okay. Do you feel like this is worse then? This next thing I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Theresa May got money for attending a private equity event. Guess how much she got?
150.
300.
80.
No. Yes, it's closer. 97k.
Yeah, makes sense though.
Well, just
Yeah.
for attending, yeah?
That's for attending.
Yeah, but. No, actually, no, let me not do it.
What are you going to say?
Nope. Nope. Not today.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyway, she got 90. What did I say? 97. 97k. So yeah, man. Big up. Let's trust on that.
Let's trust. I wonder what she's
Sorry,
doing.
Theresa May.
Theresa May, innit?
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to say is basically petrol and diesel. Unfortunately, is looking to rise. You know.
I've seen it slowly creeping up.
It is. I've seen it creeping up. They're very cheeky for that.
Yeah.
I might start just
Walking.
intentionally driving less. I mean,
You
like
save your fuel.
maybe like twice a week, get train here. I mean, rather
Train
than drive
tickets are
every
going up in
day.
January, by the way.
What's that?
Train tickets are going up in January.
Atrix.
All right. just know you got a brain. If you get got.
Nah, bro.
But yeah, man. It's going to be up in March by about 12p. Imagine. So
12p?
Yeah. That's a lot, you know.
I'm tired, man. Honestly.
What is that not a
Brain
lot?
me. That is a lot.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say it's not a lot.
It is a lot.
This diesel was like.
Because I
what?
noticed
That's
that when it
gonna
goes
be
up by 2p.
I'm actually tired.
We're going to be paying £2 for petrol come next summer, you know.
At this point, yeah, what do we do?
Get more money,
I
Brett.
hear it.
You get taxed more.
This is it.
And then,
That's what
and,
I'm
then, and,
saying.
then, and then you notice that you're working hard and whatever, but it's only a £50 difference every month.
This is like, what do we do?
They don't pay for manicure. Stupid.
And it's funny you said that, yeah, because remember, like I was saying, because
My
the tax,
manicures.
no,
Oh.
about the whole the tax
Yeah,
brackets,
yeah.
right? Because now he's reduced the highest rate from 150 to 125k. Essentially, you're gonna get less money, like a lot less money,
Yeah.
because you're now being taxed exponentially. But yeah,
I'm
man,
sickened.
yeah,
It's actually just a scam. Oh, it's a scam.
yeah. That's pretty much all the bad news I'm gonna give you guys today.
Thank you. And
Like, you really...
thank you so much.
Yeah.
There was more, but I'm
No,
being nice.
it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because you really caught up on the week you missed, boy. You really came with all of it. But you know what? Let's try and pick up the mood, hopefully. Pick up the mood a bit. Actually, now I see trigger warning. I'm sorry, guys.
I've read it already.
I'm sorry. Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know? Okay, let's definitely pick up the mood
Yes.
and let's get into our interview segment.
All right, cool.
All right.
Mike's muted.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you? You sit here, isn't it,
Yeah.
Brad?
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah.
The signs there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do a little teaser, break the ice situation with our guests.
Okay.
And it's called 140. So we ask you questions and a 140 beat.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need your headphones.
Okay.
We do have a scoreboard. So it'd be great
Ha.
if you could.
Not come last.
There's a Nigerian. It would be great. Hopefully you can be a top scorer on this.
We'll see.
Right. Okay. Everyone ready?
3, 2,
Are you ready?
1.
Oh crap! Hold on, Brent. Damn. All right, ready? All right, let's
Ready?
go. What is the currency of Spain?
Spanish dollars.
Migos or Future?
Migos.
American or City Girls?
City girls. Damn, that's a hard one.
What country did Amapiano originate?
South Africa.
Basmati or long grain?
Long green.
Nairobi is the capital of what East African country?
Kenya.
What was Meta Platforms Inc. formerly known as?
For Facebook.
Hot 97 or Breakfast Club?
Breakfast Club. Dang, Hot 97. She was trying to get an interview though.
Wache or contemporary are dishes from what country?
Ghana.
Who is the most powerful woman in America?
Kamala Harris. Right?
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj or Cardi B?
Anyway, Shaw.
21 Savage was born in what city?
I know London.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Well
you actually
done,
did quite
man.
bad. I think you did well. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I think you did really well.
Also, I didn't go in order because of her.
Yeah.
Why? What did I
You
do?
didn't go in order. So I thought, all right,
No, but
cool.
you kept throwing me off. Joyce, I thought the question was just too long and you guys were, and I was
That's
like,
what I
yeah, that's
thought.
fine.
Oh, is it? No,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
what I
because I didn't. Yeah. And then you just went, but I said no. I don't
No,
know.
I started reading. I thought, let me just ask ones I feel are like relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright,
'cause-
Esther, if you can reintroduce her, please, because apparently they didn't hear the first bit.
Oh,
Okay, so we have an amazing, beautiful woman with us. She is known as Six, or AKA Six Said It.
Yes.
She is a rapper, a songwriter.
Yes.
And as you guys would have heard during the 140, there's different cultures popping out. So we need to kind of get into all of that and get into who you are. We'll start with, and then get into the music part. So can you let us know who you are?
Well, hey, I'm Six, aka Six Edit, aka Six the motherfucking hit girl. I know, right? I was born in London, raised in Northwest Edgeworth, Collindale area. Then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, permanently when I was 14. I went to college in New York and California. Started doing music about 3 years ago,
That's it.
and I haven't looked back since.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. So you said you live in LA at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you were raised Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta / London. So
Okay.
like back and forth for pretty much all of my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
Oh, it's terrible.
Really?
It's so bad because the way Americans raise kids and the way like British people raise kids are very different. And then also being Nigerian. So it's like in the UK, I feel like kids advance a lot faster here.
Okay.
So like, for example, in primary school, someone's probably smoking a cigarette by year 6 or by year 6, there's people in the bathroom or whatever. Well, meanwhile, like in elementary school in America, like we're still playing with like Build-A-Bears and
Really?
yeah, like I remember when I moved because my mom had me in elementary school in the 5th grade, then I moved back to London for year 7, which is already kind of weird with the numbers and everything. And I loved Bratz dolls. Like I loved
I love
Build-A-Bear
Bratz,
Workshop.
yeah.
I loved like just being a kid. And then I moved here in year 7 and like everyone has like yellow bangs, fat ties, skirts up their ass. Like, and I was like, damn, I can't. I had a Build-A-Bear Workshop birthday party all the way outside London because they didn't have one in London at the time. And everyone by the time we came back to school the next Monday, everyone was just like making fun of me. Like all the people that went were like, "Oh, she took us to Build-A-Bear Workshop. Can you imagine?"
Oh wow. Build-A-Bears are expensive as well, you know.
Expensive.
Them shit stuff for like £40.
Listen.
And then you have to buy the accessories.
You don't know what build a bear is. You build a bear.
Thank you.
Build-A-Bear.
And
You
mind you,
build a bear.
what do you mean you build a bear?
like
can
you
build
get
your
a
own bear.
carcass of
Out of what?
a teddy bear. Like it's
Yeah.
not even a stuffed one. Then they
Yeah.
put all the stuffing inside.
Yeah.
You get the little noise maker. Like you
Yeah.
can record your voice for it to
Yeah.
say whatever you
Oh,
want
okay.
to
You
say.
Press it, it says, yeah.
You buy clothes, you buy shoes. It's literally
Yeah.
like 40 pounds per person just to build the bear.
Okay.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about the party. So
Yes.
you can imagine.
Yeah, because when you host a party, that's a
Yeah.
different package you're
Yeah.
paying for.
Exactly.
That's
They
very
are so ungrateful.
unique
So
concept.
ungrateful.
It's sick though.
Build a
For
bear.
kids, build a bear.
I've heard of build
No,
a bear,
I
but
love
I didn't know
Build-A-Bear.
it was build a bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
literally.
proper sick concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I see the kids, kids probably go nuts for that, you know.
I'm so
Yeah.
surprised it's still in business, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is, because when I my local like shopping center, if I go there on Saturdays, It's like groups of kids, and they're having the time of their life.
Nah, it was really
They're loving it.
time. It was really
Yeah,
fun.
they didn't know nice things, them kids.
They didn't
They
know.
really didn't.
Yeah, but they weren't kids. Like by then, they were already talking about like sex. And in retrospect, they
How
were
old
like
was that?
11 or 12. And like already on the
Okay.
bus, people are talking about this and that. This who's a scat, who's not. This
Do you know what then?
And I'm just like, we're 11.
It's not.
Like, how old are we? Like,
But then
for
what I'm seeing that as is that, so in the UK then, like the innocence is taken from kids
Oh.
very early.
very early. I can tell you that. So, because of me moving back and forth, I
Yeah.
can tell you 100%. Even the way that my cousins, because all of my family is here, so
Yeah.
it was only my mom and I that moved to the States.
Okay.
So, in comparison to the way that they mature, of course, my cousins are still good kids, but like
Yeah.
their friends, for example,
Yeah.
I would come and then I would be like, "You're 16."
Wow.
At 16, and it's so crazy because like pop culture media is very heavily based in America. So you would think that, because you see Instagram models looking 16
Yeah.
and they're grown, you would think that's what
That's
like
the
the
norm.
average
Yeah.
teenager. No, that's like
Okay.
the one off. Here, it's like you cannot tell who is an adult or who is a kid.
That's so
Like,
interesting.
That's
you
so
know, 'cause I
interesting.
literally thought it was the other way around.
I thought it was
when
the
I
other
think
way
about
round.
Americans, and because like Americans are quite tall, they're quite big and grown. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I've always believed that like Americans mature so much faster than we do.
Yeah, same.
And stuff like that. Like even when you watch like
Yeah.
high school like movies
Yeah.
and stuff that happens, like I think that stuff don't happen over here.
But I think it's because everyone kind of bases it based off of like movies and like TV shows. But the reality of it is, as someone who's lived it, is that here I feel like you all gain independence a lot faster. Like by the time you're 16, you're kind of done with secondary school. Then you go off to college or, sixth form. And then you're kind of like not on your own, but you have to mature faster because you're thinking about your future a little faster. Then you have to make that future decision a little faster. Whereas in America, you don't make that decision until you're like 18. And even when you're 18, you're going to college, which is just another high school. You just have a little bit more freedom. Yeah. And it's so funny you say that Americans are bigger because when I moved to, all of my female cousins are like 5'8" and up, right? I was always tall. Like growing up.
Okay.
And then I moved to the US and I stopped growing at 5'6".
Really?
In fifth grade,
Really?
I swear. I just stopped growing. And like all of my cousins are like towering over me because the food here isn't so processed. I feel like in America they grow wider than they do taller. The ones that grow taller,
Really?
yeah. Like UK girls are tall. Like if you were to take, I don't know a lot of short. I don't think I know anyone. Maybe just because my family members are on the taller side, but even like my average friends here, they're not shorter than 5'6". Like,
Wow.
That's interesting. That's so
but all of like I'm
Very interesting.
because I
Yeah.
actually in my head, Americans are more developed. They're solid. Like, do you remember? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like
Absolutely.
they've got growth hormones in their food. That's why
Yeah.
they're like
Yes.
tall. That's why they're big.
Because I would say
Going
there's something
white.
in you. Yeah. Because I always make the joke like there's something in the water over there
100%,
because
yeah.
it's always very different to us.
I remember when I went to Miami and when I was 20, 21, and I just thought, nah. Like
I'm a small
how?
girl,
Like
yeah.
I literally was like, how? And I was like, no, you look, there's something in your feed because I didn't understand how everybody was just. I just thought, wow, okay,
yeah.
It's so
right.
different. That's so interesting. What was it like, even like with school, like with your accent, with knowing the culture here, and then
Yeah.
like getting used to the culture over there as well?
It was weird because I went to school in the South. I feel like it would have been way different if I went to school in New York because New York is very similar to London, so they understand like different cultures
Yeah.
and things like that. In Atlanta at the time, it was just like black, white, Mexican. So
Okay.
it's like not Nigerian, not Ghanaian, not Liberian, just black, white, Mexican. That's like
okay.
3 things. So I would get questions like, "Oh, do you know the Queen?" or "Can you say tea
Oh,
and
yeah.
crumpets?"
Yeah,
or
the usual stuff.
I even had a teacher ask me, "Do I eat frog legs?" That's French.
That's French.
Literally.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it was just like for that first month or two that I moved back to America, I just was quiet because I never wanted to talk because I never wanted anyone to ask me like, "Can you say tea and crumb? Can you say bread and tea? Can you say da 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 da?" And then they become so infatuated with the accent that they don't want to get to know who you are. You
Really?
become like just this British person. So I didn't speak for 2 months. For a while, I didn't speak for a while. I was just
wow.
quiet in the shadows, and then get that American accent back. Because what would happen is that throughout my life, depending on where I am, is how my accent will change. Because all I wanted to do was just fit in.
Just fit
Like
in.
I didn't
Yeah.
even want to like bring attention to myself because it just you just become the caricature of whatever place
That
you're
you're
from.
representing, yeah.
Exactly. So it was a mess.
What are the so remind me again what age you left here?
I left here permanently at 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the friendships like? What is that like?
Oh my God, it's a mess. Because I also went to boarding school in Nigeria for like 2 years.
Okay.
In Abuja, yeah. So
Okay.
friendships for
Like,
me.
oh, you are worldwide.
Yeah, and I have friends, which is fortunate. Like it's a bad thing because as a kid and up to now, it's like hard to have a hometown, like or like somewhere where you go and you're not a foreigner everywhere you go. Because even with the music industry, a lot of like the publications and a lot of the media, they want to support local or niche artists.
Okay.
But because I'm not local to one place, everywhere I go, whether it's Atlanta, New York, here, it's like even Nigeria, it's like they struggle to champion me. But what was the question? Sorry.
It was
relationships.
Friendships.
But with friendships, so that's the downside of it. The positive side is having friends everywhere. So like, no matter where I go, there's someone that I'm connected to. Like even in LA, I'll go outside in LA and I'll meet 5 people from different walks of life because everyone ends up in LA.
Yeah.
I like the other weekend, I met a couple people from my high school in Atlanta, a couple people from boarding school in Nigeria that were there, a couple people from my New York life were there, and a couple people from London, which is crazy. That is crazy. But that were there too. And I think that's the cool part of it is being able to kind of get into any city and just gel. Yeah. But I like having friends from all over.
That is so cool. That is really cool. So in your intro, you mentioned Hit Girl.
Yeah.
I would like to know what that is because it sounds like something I want to sign up to.
Yeah, okay, period. So it's the H is in parentheses, so it's actually It Girl, but I also make hits.
Okay.
So the whole idea, exactly. So the whole idea of that persona is, I feel like a lot. We've been talking about It Girls a lot recently, right? But I don't think it. But I made I coined the phrase before then.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like an It Girl is somebody. It's just like within you. It's in you, not out you. Like no one else can tell you whether or not you're an It Girl. You just are. Like if you think about the It Girls that we have, they didn't self-proclaim like I'm an It Girl, right? Yeah. They just kind of exude that, and I think that's something that I wanted my artists to represent, just like that person that's really confident within themselves and all, like embracing all parts of me. But then also making music, which is where the Hit Girl comes from. Yeah.
That's sick. So you said you started music 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because usually when you speak to artists, everyone's like, "Oh, when I was a kid," and
Can
you let us know like what inspired that?
I did like a trap karaoke. Oh, I don't think you guys have that. So basically, the trap karaoke is like a big event. Okay, Don't At Me.
Julie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine that, but it's karaoke instead.
Okay.
So that's what they have in the States. So they had one, they do it touring though, so they go to different cities. And they had one in my city and I was like, oh fuck it, let me just go. Let me take my 2 little roommates. Let's go. Yeah. So I go and we get there super early because it's on colored people time. Like everyone's late. So we get there super
worldwide,
early.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? It really is. So we get there super early and I get on the list and I'm thinking because we're here and there's nobody here really, this is just going to be the crowd. Like, something like maybe 15 people. I'm like, all right, cool, okay, I can do this. Then hundreds of people just start piling in. And then it was time for me to get on stage and I looked I looked bummy because it was like a spur of the moment. There's only 15 people.
Go last
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I could do City Girls. And then so I get up there and I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do it. They played City Girls. Can't take your man.
Oh, I love that
Take
song.
Your Man.
Take
and it
Your
goes
Man,
dun 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 dun, and my whole body just like started vibrating. Like I was like,
you channeled your inner sync. I said, let's come on.
I'm telling you,
Commissioner
'cause,
JT,
like,
speak to me.
no,
Love it.
literally, because I feel like my whole life I've been trying to find a passion. I used to do hair, I used to do makeup, I used to do YouTube, graphic design, all these kind of things. And I never was passionate in any of them.
Okay.
But that moment, it was like on stage where my whole, like, I feel like I don't even know how to explain it. I just, something just turned on and like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't the third city girl. Like, you could not tell me. And I performed it and the crowd went crazy because of the way that like, I just love performing. Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, I can't sing. So what's the next best thing? You know, rapping. And to be fair, I used to rap. Everyone had their rapping stint, I'm sure. But I used to rap when I was like much younger, like in year 7, for example, when the boys would play like their little beats on their Sony Ericssons and be doing freestyles.
Sony Ericsson.
That is old
Right.
school.
Oh my God, I wonder if there's still about.
I don't think so. I actually
they
don't.
go.
But
That's crazy.
they used to do their little freestyles on the bus, and I remember I used to one of the older girls. She was in year 9 at the time. Her name was Lady Pearl. So I was like, oh, how I didn't know it was her actual real name. I thought it was like a stage name. But anyway, her name was. You know what I'm saying? Her name was Lady Pearl. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna name myself Lady Kiss. Okay. So I did like a whole little bar. I rapped, and then all the boys ignored me, like, because they're like whatever. That's what men do. So I just dropped it from exactly because they're just like, oh, okay. Anyway, and I practiced at home and everything. I was so ready for the bus ride. But so I've already, but I've always been ready. Like I've always been lyrically inclined. Even I'm part of a sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to the Reds. And
I need to. Okay, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah. So in my sorority also, we did like. We would have to like remix songs and like make songs for like our bigger sisters and things like that. And so I did a lot of the writing for that too. So it's not like I didn't always have some sort of like musical inclination. It just was something that I never pursued because it never reflected who people perceive me to be. I was just like, Oro, the nursing student, you know, she's just, you know, there. My dad was expecting me to be the doctor of the family. Like everyone just saw me to be
culture,
this, just saw me to be this goody two shoes girl that could dress sometimes. Like, that was just kind of like what it was. So, but in the end, I was like, you know, whatever. Let me just pursue this music thing full throttle. Especially after that I've never felt that before in my life.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
But so I want to actually know about the sorority culture in America because we don't get it as a UK. Like I'll be honest, when you said about the singing and writing, I always think of the Parkers. Do you remember when Kim was trying to be in the sorority?
Yeah.
That's what I always think of. But what is that culture? What is that?
Well, it's a deeply rooted culture. It's one of those things that I wouldn't say like if you know, you know, but it's one of those things that you really have to study because of course I wasn't born into that. I didn't grow up in that culture. It wasn't until I got there that I understood it, especially being in Atlanta. In Atlanta, you learn a lot of the people that influence your life are part of sororities. Okay. So for me personally, all of the women that had followed me through high school, whether it was my dance teacher, my drama teacher, all the women that I gravitated towards, my best friend's mother, when I got to college, I found out all of these women were Deltas. Okay. And they had influenced my life greatly because of the type of woman they are, the way that they carry themselves, the camaraderie they have within each other. And so when I got to college and I did more research about it, there's a deep history in the way that these women, as far as Deltas, you know, of course, every other organization has their piece in history as far as community service, but Delta's kind of championed and were like one of the forerunners when it came to giving back to the community and creating programs for young Black women in education as early as, you know, the early 1900s, because our organization was founded in 1913.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so these are like college educated. This is pre, you know, civil rights movement. These are the women that were holding banners during the women's rights march. Even though the white women didn't want us there, they were really taking that leap forward into being pioneers and creating spaces for Black women. Some of these women are leaders in the political space, lobbyists, you know, and even in the arts and entertainment, Angela Bassett, she's a Delta. So when you see all of these influential women being part of something, it's very inspiring and you want to be a part of that. And then when you look on the smaller scale, when you're looking at your campus and you're noticing that the captain of the dance team or your RA, the person that's kind of like your mother or your big sister on the campus, you find out they're Deltas as well, because that's what happened for me. I didn't know. Okay. I was like, you know what, this is something that I want to be a part of, you know, and help to kind of like be that inspiration for other girls as well. Because of course you could do it as an individual, but when you have that big body to really push your agenda, there's nothing like it.
That is so. It sounds like a proper like sense of community and like
absolutely.
mentors, the kind of thing.
And it's lifetime too. It's lifelong.
You know, in obviously we see it all the times in films and programs
when you have to pledge.
When they pledge and they do
I was
crazy
literally
things.
about to ask that.
Did you have to do anything mad?
She did.
Yes.
Wait, can you talk about that actually? Like, or is that like going against
Like the initiation stuff?
Yeah,
innit?
initiation. There you go.
Well, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a non-hazing organization. So
That's it.
Hazing.
That's the word.
But it's one of those things. What I will say is that, you know, the process that you go through with your line sisters, those people that you cross with, is something that helps kind of further bind you together. And there's always a reason for everything. There's always a reason for everything.
On television, I feel like I can't speak for what happens on TV
Yeah.
because that's not my experience. But personally, for me, what I went through with my Lion sisters really helped further build like the sense, like those are my sisters. Like those are like they're so close to me because of the things that we went through together. And then you also get a deeper respect for the organization. You also get a deeper respect for your big sisters because they kind of transitioned you into that space.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to a job, right? Like, of course, there's like stupid stuff, but it's kind of like going into a job or where there's these tasks that you not even a job. I would say like the army would be a better analogy, where they put you through certain tasks to better prepare you for when that task comes about. There's always a message behind it. For example, one of the things that I would say is that certain things that I've learned through becoming a Delta are things that I apply in my everyday life. Like piss poor preparation promotes piss poor performance. That's something that we would have to recite all over and over again. Or like there's a poem called Don't Quit. Or even Insidious. These are poems that kind of become your mantra, not only in the process of trying to find the purpose behind becoming a part of a sorority, but also in just everyday life. You know, like there's even the way that time management is, there's so many great things that I've learned from being a part of sorority that I continue to carry out in my life.
That'd be so cool if we had it in the UK.
I think so, but a lot of people, they don't like, I think a lot of people just minimize it to what they see on TV and like Stomp the Yard.
Yeah, because
like,
honestly, as you're talking, I'm literally thinking about Stomp the Yard.
yeah, and it's like it's not that like it's not all about step practice and are we gonna win the step show or like that's the fun part. Like you get to learn how to stroll, but even in learning how to stroll, it's like you learn every movement you do has purpose. Like we're not just throwing up signs to look like we're gang members. Like every single move, every single stroll, there's a rite of passage in learning how to do those strolls, and you're learning what each pose means and what it signifies. So I wish they would bring it to, but everyone I don't even know if people in the UK would get it, to be honest.
Yeah, because it seems like it's a lot of like, there's so much substance and so much meaning behind it than what we've seen. So much history. There's so much to it than what we see on TV and stuff.
Exactly.
Which makes sense. Obviously, TV, like everything's always exaggerated, to be fair.
Right.
But it's really, really cool. But so you said, so are you still a nurse? Because you mentioned nursing.
Yes, I'm still a nurse. Actually, right before my flight, I came straight from work.
Wow.
So I got off at like 7:30 a.m. Went, dropped my dog, went home, got my bags, and then came.
So I would like to, obviously you're Nigerian, and we mentioned, the Nigerian.
Sorry, 6. Can I just move your car for a second?
Yeah.
Just throw the keys.
Oh, it's in my purse.
All right, thank you.
No worries. It's okay.
Not like, you are so dramatic.
The fact that you even closed your eyes.
But you know what? That is respectful. That is respectful. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need me anymore.
Love a black respectful.
Yeah.
But so you're Nigerian. You do nursing. I would like to know your family's reaction to like you wanting to do music, because Nigerians are very you be a doctor, engineer, lawyer. Do you get what I mean? So I want to know what that was like.
Well, I didn't tell either of my parents until like I never told them. What happened was my sisters I didn't tell anyone, and then my sisters found out. I guess because they follow me on Instagram, and they were rapping the song. They had like this video of them like rapping one of my songs. Then they were like sending, bless their heart, sending like a blast of like my music videos to all of their WhatsApp friends.
Oh, that is
that's so
sweet.
Yeah. So they were like
lovely.
sending it like, oh, this is my little sister. She's like so good. Da, 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 da. And then it got to my dad, and he sends me
Why am I nervous?
he sends me the video. It was like, when you kind of just like, you're just seeing it in real time. Bloop, the video. And then that bloop. Is
paragraph.
this you? Not even a paragraph.
Is this you?
Is this you? And I'm just like, and then it's like me in the thumbnail. And I'm just like,
Sure is.
yes, because in the music video, everyone was like smoking weed. Like,
Okay.
Oh,
it was
girl.
great. It was like,
dear.
and mind you, just for the record, I don't smoke. You know, I'm
Yeah.
a very good girl. I don't smoke. I don't drink. But you know, at the same time, it's in the video, so it's just like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
oh god, like I don't even know. It's such an awkward conversation to have. So I just put yes, period, and he was like, okay.
And that's it.
Nothing more.
You know what I'm saying? So then after that, I was really nervous. Then when I came to visit him, because he lives in Nigeria,
Yeah.
I went to visit him in December. And my other uncle owns a hotel, and they do like a talent show every Christmas. And so we get to the talent show, and he's telling the DJ, my daughter, you know she raps. You know she raps. Oh yeah. She raps. She needs to be on the talent show. And it's like this, this talent show for months. They're not gonna
just vibes.
do you understand? They're not even gonna like. What are you? Calm down. And this is my first time like really seeing his like reaction.
Yeah,
So
that's
then,
so sweet though.
right.
Yeah.
So then he's like, okay, well. But then again, I'm just like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm just pretending like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We get home and he's like, no, he's gonna watch the music video with me tonight. So I was like, okay, yeah, it was so sweet. We watched music. There's actually a video of it on my Instagram. We watched the video together, and his face just lights
Oh,
up.
that is so lovely.
Yeah. So I think it's because I'm good. If I was bad,
helps,
You
helps.
know, I think you should focus on nursing, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the same thing with my mom too. She just found out randomly, and she's like, oh, all right, I've been listening to your music. So like we're on the phone one day. She's like, so send me your music, and yeah, it's so good. And I'm just
Oh, that's so beautiful.
yeah. So both of them are very supportive, but it's like weird because being with Nigerian parents and making non-Afrobeat music is so annoying because they think all you need to do is meet Don Jazzy and that's
yeah,
it.
that's it. You're clear.
That's it. All you need to just, I know Mofetami Joe. You can. My dad literally gave me his number yesterday. Like, I know he's in acting, but you might have
can
some
some kind of
friends.
link.
I'm
Yeah.
like, Mofetami Joe from. I wasn't even born when he was doing movies. No, I love him though,
That is
but
so sweet though. I think
That
that
is
is that is so sweet.
yeah, it is. It really is. My mom went to my show recently. I had a show in New York,
Yeah.
and like, thank God she doesn't understand the lyrics, because God, But she's like, the Kris Jenner meme where the mom is just
Oh
like,
yeah, she's like, oh
recording.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my
You're
mom.
doing amazing, sweetie.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my mom, 100%. I love her. She's
Oh, that is
great.
so lovely.
Yeah.
So what's your musical influence?
Child, everything. I feel like when you grew, well, both of my mom's brothers were rappers
Okay.
as well. They grew up here, so that should tell you enough. So they were both rappers.
Yeah.
So they would always have different types of music. Growing here, you'll have like all of the American music that will come back then with like the Mysticals, the Eve,
Yeah.
the Snoop Dogg that will travel from the American channels. Then you would have, music here that you would hear from schools.
Yeah.
Even like pop music like Craig David, Kylie Minogue. And then you would also hear like Dizzy Rascal at the time, Chipmunk,
Yeah.
and Dubs, all of that kind of stuff. Then at the same time, you're getting your Afrobeat CD from someone who just visited.
That just
in
came
the-
back.
you
Yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Those mixes and those DJ mixes, then you'll be hearing that in the car. Your mom will play Fala. So I have a lot of musical
Yeah.
influences. But for me, as far as modern day, I would say someone like a Drake would be very, because that was the first time where I saw someone be able to do everything as far as like melodic rap, I guess gangster rap, also playing in tune with like crossing over to the UK culture, crossing over and making Afrobeats like mainstream. So that kind of inspired me. But the difference is that obviously I'm from all of these cultures. So it comes from more of like an authentic source.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like I'm just picking up a sound and
Yeah.
trying to make it mine. It already is.
Yeah.
So that would be like my biggest thing.
Who would be your top 5?
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5. My top 5 is gonna be unconventional because people always think of it like lyrically, but I think of top 5 like artistically.
Okay, cool.
So artistically, I would say like Pharrell, Missy Elliott, Kanye West, who else? Eve.
Oh, I love Eve. Yeah.
Freaking love her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Love her. Dang. Who am I? Oh, I didn't say Drake, but Drake.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one more. I feel like that's 4.
That's 5.
That's
Five.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine, yeah. But it could be one more. If I were to say one more, I would say City Girls. People always laugh when I say that, but like,
Period.
you know, or even Cardi B. Oh my God.
Cardi.
Like, Cardi B though is so special to me in a different way because I went to college where her mom used to work the cashier at the food hall.
Okay. Yeah.
So we knew Cardi from just being like a stripper. Because I remember like there would be rumors like her mom would like quote unquote cry. I know this is bullshit, but they would be like, oh, her mom would cry because anytime she would bring her up because you know she's stripping. I don't think that was true. That was what people would say, but we would see Cardi bought her like Louboutins, for example, on Instagram, and we would go like Belcalis because her mom's Belcalis. Yeah. Oh, did Cardi get you red bottoms? Oh my God, what you did? You know what I'm saying? So it was just like we were so excited for her getting red bottoms and like a bouquet of roses with like $100 in the roses.
Oh yeah,
and like to see it go from we were hype about that. Imagine like watching.
Now she's like worldwide.
It was just like we literally watched everything happen. We used to some of my other classmates used to sneak. Not sneak because we're grown. They used to go from Westchester, which is like more up. How would I explain it? Like imagine going from like Milton Keynes to like, let's say Camden, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
They would go from like there to there to go see Cardi B do a hosting at a strip club.
Oh wow!
No music. No
Yeah.
music. This is pre-music, and then she
That's
got
proper support, you know.
what?
Yeah, that is.
Then she got her freaking Love and Hip Hop. Love and Hip Hop
Oh,
for
yeah,
us.
that was
thought
blowing your
we thought
mind.
that was
Oh,
her
my
feelings.
God.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
thought like, oh my God, she's on
Like,
Love
she
and Hip
made
Hop.
it. Yeah.
So to see where she is now, like, of course, everyone is gonna be like, "Oh, Cardi B from the ground up." No, you don't understand what I
You
saw.
guys literally saw from the ground
Literally
out.
from the ground. Like, oh, she was just a girl from the Bronx. She wasn't living in her mom's house. Like, ground up. And so me watching that happen is a big artistry and like dedication wise is a huge influence on me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's like I think for female artists, especially like female rappers, it's an exciting time. But obviously, you're in the industry.
Yeah.
Do you share the same sentiment as me, a consumer?
I mean, half and half.
Okay.
It's an exciting time, but like the old stuff still exists. Like the old like misogynistic values, the old colorism. And it's just like, it's worse because how can that survive in this type of space?
Yeah, we should know better.
You know what I'm saying? But it still happens, and they still treat it as though, in as much as that there's space for us, they still treat it as though there's only one spot. Does that make sense? They still make it seem as though like to me, I don't even think it's female rap anymore. I just think it's rap. Like I feel like we've diluted the scene so much that you can't just be like best female artist. You just have to say best artist at this point because there's so many of us. But at the same time, they're trying so hard to like segregate us still. Like if you listen to the Rap Caviar playlist on Spotify, you're just gonna listen to a whole bunch of unknown male rappers, right? But then there's like really good female rappers that you're not gonna see on Rap Caviar because they still don't consider us to be like rap. Like look at how they've just been pushing us to pop, pushing this one to pop, pushing this one to this one. Like they don't really respect the fact that a lot of these female rappers are out rapping some of your faves, you know? So it's still difficult within the industry to kind of convince people that I'm not just another like gimmicky female rapper, that I'm really here to play. And I'm not here to play dirty and fight for the one spot that you supposedly see. I'm just here to enter the industry the same way you let so-and-so let 15 of his homeboys enter the industry. But yeah.
Are you signed at the moment? Unsigned? What's your?
I have a distribution deal with Sony.
Okay, nice.
At the Orchard. Shout out to the Orchard. But yeah.
Do you feel like? Oh, sorry.
No, go.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, because obviously you mentioned some of the obstacles, right? I was gonna say, what are some of the other obstacles that you face, like personally, as opposed to, I guess, going in the industry? Things that apply to everyone.
I think just mental health in general is something that I struggle with. I think that's everyone to a certain extent. Everyone struggles with mental health, but I think that when you're an artist, it's kind of amplified to a different degree that they don't prepare you for. Like, because you become, you know how you could be like financially depressed or like maybe depressed in your love life or depressed in like different areas, once you become part of the industry, everything is just one. So you are now like a brand. So if you're not doing well, if your business is not doing well, you can just be like, oh, that's my business, but I'm fine. Whereas this is also your business. And not only is it your business, it's everybody else is involved is now looking at you as like stakeholders in who you are. So like they are getting depressed because you're not doing well. So that is like all that depression kind of transfers onto you every time someone is telling you, oh, we need to get numbers. Oh, the streams are not doing as well. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to do that. And as you're sitting in yourself like, okay, what am I not doing? How am I not, being the best version of myself? You understand? But if it's a normal person, you kind of battle with that within yourself. But in the industry, that now becomes a meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's tough, but
So how do you cope with that then? Like,
child. I don't know if I well, music helps a lot, I will say. That's really cheesy, but
makes sense.
yeah, music
It's
helps a
outlet.
lot. Cuz therapy is tough cuz I was just speaking with my cousin the other day and on my family, and I was saying how like seeking therapy is really hard in America because we don't have consistent health care. I'm a travel nurse, so I can only have health insurance between the contracts. So if my contract is 3 months, I only have health insurance for 3 months, which is unsustainable if you're trying to have a therapist. And even then, therapy is like $100 and something per session or per hour. And so it's like, okay, well, if I need to talk to somebody every week, by the time you add that up, it's expensive, plus the insurance that you're already paying. So finding therapy is very difficult for me. So the way that I try my best to deal with it is speaking with my parents. They've been really helpful, monumental, and like helping me kind of divide what's real versus like real emotions versus transferred emotions. And then just listening to great music, really.
You know, it's annoying. I forgot my question.
I got another question, but it's gonna go left in it. So it's,
Okay.
So I'll let you ask.
What was my question? It was a really good question as well.
Was it music related or?
Yes, it was. There we go. Thank you. So the other day we were talking about the Grammy nominations, and we were talking about how like growing up, the Grammys was like this is where everyone's trying to get to, but now it just feels like they hand them out like it's Tic Tacs. It's ridiculous. But so we were saying how well, I don't want to pick everyone, but I was saying how I feel like artists should just focus more on the crafts rather than trying to earn like awards, maybe, because that puts some people off. And people are releasing like good music. I remember when I think it was the Soul Music Awards, and Ari Lennox was really, really upset because she was like, how did I not get one nomination? Like, are you kidding me? And she was like, oh, like this is like I don't do this. She was basically upset about not getting that and talking about, with music and not quitting music, but it's just like, what's the point? So I was saying how I feel like with artists, kind of just focus on your crafts and your work and just growing in that rather than looking at that as what you should be aiming for, basically.
I'm pretty sure I speak for every artist where we could say like, we wish we could, but the reality of it is that being in the industry, everything is about points, numbers, and accolades. So in order for you to create the music and to create the things that you want, you need money. In order for you to get money, you need to have some sort of a credibility. And unfortunately, these award shows and they're, these streams and these Instagram followers are what kind of make us or put us in the position to do what we really want to do. At least for me, my biggest, everyone's always telling me, oh, like, what's your goal in this? My goal is just to get to a point where whatever idea I have in my brain, I can make it happen. You understand? That's all I want. But I can't do that if I don't have, for whatever reason, if I can't prove that I can make that money back for people. But what sucks about even that is that they actually don't give a fuck about their money. Like, they don't care to make it back. They just like the idea that...
making it back.
They just like the idea. Because if they cared about making it back, they wouldn't be signing one-hit wonders. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't care. Because even when you think about, like... And I recently learned this from, like, someone who works in, like... what's it called? Private equity, where he was like telling me how people like raise funds for businesses. And I was like, okay, well then how are you going to make that? He was like, yeah, I'm trying to raise $2 million for my business. I'm like, yeah, but then it's all about making it back. He was like, they don't care about making it back. And I was like,
They don't.
I was like, you know what? They don't, because
Yeah.
even if they give you, let's say they give you $50,000, right? This company that makes billions of dollars from music a year, they'll be pressuring you. Come do TikTok. Come do this. Come do that. That 50K is $1 to them. Do you understand? And then you'll be sweating. Oh my God. I have to recuperate these funds. What? They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
But then in the end, it's just the idea, to make the value of their business more so that they can have credit. Because at the end of the day, in this world, it's not about the cash you have in hand. It's about your credit. And with credit, you need to have some sort of business and assets to account for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It's all about what people appraise you to be worth, not what you're actually worth.
Yeah, true.
So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, certain like the Grammys, they put you on a different pedestal. Like you're now
Grammy
Grammy Awards winning or Grammy nominated.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
And
your
then
intro now.
That in total increases the money you can demand from shows
Exactly.
and from branding. So it puts you in a different class.
bracket. Yeah.
exactly.
Do you want to be signed? Would you want to be signed?
I don't know. Cause I'm very selfish. Like I like my money. Even with this distribution deal, I was like, damn, I don't get 100%. Cause I write all my music, so it's like, damn, cause if you're signed, then you have to give something up. That's something that I really struggle with. The idea of that. I think I do. I think if I do get signed, I would want it to be under a label or someone who would be co-signing me, but then also keeping me as independent as possible, or at least giving me free reign creatively.
Yeah.
Is there a label like that at the moment?
No, there's a lot of joint ventures, but in the end, you have to give something's got to give. As far as distribution, that's what distribution can do. So a lot of people Bad Bunny is technically independent. BTS, I think they recently signed to a major, but they've been independent. They all go through the Orchard. And the Orchard, you keep all of your masters. You're just licensing your music to them. So they distribute your music and they get a certain amount of percentage, but you end up keeping large chunk of the money versus, and then they still have artist services. They still have publicists on deck. They still have all of these different things in priority for playlisting and things like that. But of course, major labels just have the money to whack you with. So that's the only difference.
Okay, so we spoke about your influences. If you had 3 artists you definitely want to work with on your, okay, I'm gonna say 3 artists, and then maybe a producer, if you want to give me more producers. Or who's your dream people to work with?
I feel it's very generic. Of course, you're gonna have your huge artists that you want to work with, but for me right now, I would love to work with if I were to say, it's tough because they change. I want to work with a lot of people, but I will say the people that I'm more gravitating towards are an Amare, or a Doja Cat, or a Doechii. Those. That's from the female space. From the male space, there's this artist in South Africa called Blackie. He's dope. You guys should check him out.
I think I've heard of him.
He's super, super dope.
He's
He's super dope. That I would love to work with him because even though he's from South Africa, his music is quite similar to mine as far as the versatility.
Yeah.
Is he a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper. Cool. Who else would I really love to work with? I've been trying to work with Tion Wayne on one of my songs, but haven't been able to get a hold of him.
Message.
Message.
So that would be kind of dope. Oh, I'm obsessed with Pascal You right now.
Oh yeah, Pascal. Okay.
Yeah. So those are more of my UK, and then as far as the US, of course, Drake, maybe a 21 Savage. But yeah, those are people I would really like to work with.
And then producers as well?
Producers, Pharrell, Tyler, the Creator, Jay Versace. Yeah. But I don't really, but that's just because I just like their taste in music. Okay. I'm not I don't really listen to producers. I get all my beats from BeatStars. So it's I just listen to the beats after they're made. I've never started
through
from
the process.
Scratch.
Okay, yeah, that makes
so
sense.
I'm not really one that's oh, this producer's super. Because even with the music I make, I would have to have a producer that can make all of the music I make, not just a grime beat or Afro swing. Like, yeah, you have to be able to do all of it. So,
You know, Jay Versace. What style of beats does he make? Because I know him to be just
like a comedian.
Instagram or social media.
I think his
Yeah.
job is sick, you
But
know.
now he's a
That's amazing.
producer, right? I haven't heard none of his stuff
Yeah.
though. What's his style?
He's very versatile too.
Okay.
So he'll like what's this guy's name? Frick, he's bald. Never mind. There's no way that I would remember.
Yeah,
his
bald
name.
was not helping
Yeah,
us.
that was not gonna that's all I can think of right now. I think his name's Freddie Gibbs.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's produced for him before.
has he?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
dope.
produced for a lot of different artists actually. But he's very versatile. Like he makes like vibey music, but he can also make like real rap beats.
Okay.
So I think he's similar to Tyler the Creator in the sense that, and Pharrell, where they are able to make those like melodic
Yeah, I
kind
get
of
you.
vibes that someone could probably rap to.
Yeah.
They just know good music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question, a personal question.
Yeah.
Sis, what's the love life saying? Spill the tea. Because think about it, like you've been everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know. I want to
yeah.
know. Firstly, what's the love life saying? And out of all the places you've been, like, what's the best kind of man you've dated? Is it British,
definitely- I definitely wanna know that,
American,
boy.
African? Like, what we saying?
The love life in LA sucks so badly.
Really?
So badly.
Damn.
So badly.
Oh, wow, okay.
Damn.
Emphasis.
So badly. That's like it.
Damn.
Just,
Like, this is like, you know the Kevin Hart. Damn.
terrible. Yeah, I think it's, and then so because I travel a lot, I typically tend to go for like long distance relationships, and I'm also an Aquarius, so we like our space.
Okay.
After a certain amount of time, so long distance for me always just works that way.
Really?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
just I like my individuality. I don't want someone in my house every day. Like, yeah,
But like a whole
you
other,
know,
like, but what's your long distance? Is
it
like,
could be anything. It could be as far as Nigeria.
and you're in LA?
And LA, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Bam.
100%. Because I like the idea of like traveling and then like that moment.
When you reconnect and it's exciting.
You understand? Like it's very exciting because we have a lot of technology these days. We have FaceTime. And
Mate, I
so
feel
you
that
can
when I
actually
knock on
talk.
your front door and you're just down the road.
No, I get annoyed really
Really?
easily. And then if as far as like the beginning stages, I need that space so that like I could actually get to know you and take that time to like let's learn each other and not just be infatuated because it's
Yeah, I
very easy
get
to be
you, I get
infatuated
you.
when you're like in each other's faces. But taking that time to be committed to getting to know each other in space, like when things are apart and then coming together and like learning each other together and then kind of making that it's a special commitment to be like, oh, okay, every 2 weeks or every month or every 3 months,
Yeah, we
like,
have to,
okay,
like,
you
link-
pay, you pay for ticket, you did it. That's a special commitment. So
It
you
really
know
is.
that like that person is really like
committed.
So those are the relationships I prefer versus like local ragamuffins that invite.
Not a ragamuffin.
Listen, just LA boys just have the audacity. Like if it's just
I think
anything,
men in
I think
general,
men in general,
one thing they
I
were
think men are
born with
created. One thing
is
about men,
audacity.
it runs in abundance. It's ridiculous. Like,
It's overflowing.
no,
it's
truly.
literally overflowing.
No, truly, but I just in LA it's terrible. But as far as like in comparison to like different spaces,
Yeah.
I will say Nigerian men are probably like top. Yeah,
The top men in
it's
it.
pinning me to say it.
Listen, I feel the exact same because I love them so much. It's like, damn, I really gotta say this, man. That you're but I love me some Nigerian man. I love a Nigerian man.
I'm late
Nigerian
to
men
the
are
Nigerian men train, you know. I'm
But
not gonna
it's-
lie, but
yes.
I think I've arrived.
This is
I've arrived,
This is where you
and
need to be at.
I'm like, oh hello, hi.
and we're like, welcome Gina.
I'm very
Hi,
late, but
Gina.
please, if you will have me, I'm
hi,
happy
my
to
name is
stay.
Gina.
Literally.
Hi Gina.
Yeah, no, definitely Nigerian men are great. Especially the ones that are like in Nigeria.
Yeah, see, I don't like that.
See, this,
Nah,
this
but
is
this
where
is-
I
that's-
got
that's-
stretch.
no,
No,
and be
okay.
like,
Let me say why. It has to be a specific type. And God, please, if anyone has offense to this, don't take offense. But
be all right.
it has to be the ones that are like that don't have any ambition to cross overseas. Like, the ones that okay, they were born wherever and they came back as a baby and they just grew there and you know they don't have or they just don't have any ambition to be like
I want to
let me
like,
go and
green
tap
cards.
out. Like you understand?
like,
Like
they don't
just-
look at you and see a passport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are like great and that they can travel freely. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. You know what I'm saying? Or let's spend a week. I'll meet you in LA. Let's spend a week there.
Yeah.
Those are great men.
Yeah.
Then I'll say from there, I'll say maybe. I feel like this is where it's teeter-totter because when you're American and you come to the UK, UK guys are very nice.
Oh, we know. They've been
But
nicer to them.
when you're
Charity begins at home, they say, but not with them.
no, but that's how it is. Like that's how it is. So like when black girls come here, it's like the guys here are very nice, very respectable, very like intentional. But then when UK girls come to America, they say the same thing. Oh, the guys will spend.
Yeah, it's because it's
But
Because it's not what you're used to. Like, it's exciting.
It's because everyone is excited because it's foreign.
Are you looking at me?
But
Huh?
Why give me side eye?
Wait. So you think that UK guys are nice?
No, I'm saying as in like I would understand why like if
Americans would
like if a American girl came over here.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, "Oh, the UK guys are nice. They're spending on her. They're doing all this
Yeah.
stuff."
I get it.
I would get it.
Yeah.
And it would
No,
make
because the
sense.
way obviously you two don't represent every UK girl, innit?
No, of course.
Yeah, of course not.
But then the narrative that I've been soaking in the last couple of years is that y'all don't really
Great UK man.
fuck with us. So
Yeah, but when she said they're
when
nice, she meant
when
she was
Six
talking
put us
more
on a
from...
pedestal, you lot were like, hee. I was like,
No. It wasn't hitting. It was it was more.
shoulders, you know? I was like, what?
No, didn't you
I was
hear
like,
what she said?
this is new
but when
energy.
No, she said charity. She said,
I said
you weren't
charity.
listening. Charity starts at home, but clearly not with us.
Yes.
Meaning
Yeah.
that, you lot are nice to overseas babes,
Yeah.
not us.
So you still feel that UK guys are not nice to y'all?
I just feel like I get more love overseas than I do
Okay.
in the UK.
I think in general, if we do a general statistic,
Yeah.
yes, but of course it'll be that the individuals that you date, well, but
Yeah.
they make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because in the same way she was saying how like with American guys, if a UK girl goes there, they're rolling out the red carpet. I think it's just when something is not what you're used to, it's
Yeah.
exciting. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in the same way as well, people talk about when you go back home, like with Ghana, for example, or like Nigeria, the men over there, like they love it. Do you get what I mean? They
Yeah.
love the fact that you're not what they see regularly.
day.
Like,
Yeah.
do you get what I mean? So I think it's just human nature.
that's
but-
what it is. Because
Yeah.
and when we get into like that whole debate about like where it's better to date, I think I can strongly say that everyone has their own, but just dating foreign people is
Yeah.
just
It'll
it's
always
just
be more
better because
exciting.
you get the opportunity to learn more about their culture and they learn about your culture. And even though like you can both be Nigerian, obviously you're raised
Yeah.
differently, and so that part is really cool. But to date like a Nigerian American, absolutely not.
Really?
Over my
That's why.
dead body.
Wow.
Like
Wow,
over
that's
my
serious.
dead body. No, Nigerian Americans are so terrible. Men. Yeah. No, the ones that like were born and raised in America, like I don't care if anyone cancels me for it because they're
Said I said what I
so
said.
bad. They're so bad. Especially the ones from like Jersey or like New York or like cities that they were calling them African booty scratcher. Not everybody was called African booty scratcher, first of all. Second of all, now Afrobeats is cool.
Yeah.
So you remember those ones that had English names?
Oh, now, can I be honest? I think that's over here too, though, yeah?
Yeah, but it's-
Because there's people I went to school with in school, you were called Christopher. Now everyone's calling you Moiwa. I never knew you as Moiwa. I went to primary school and secondary school with you. I called you Christopher.
Yeah.
It's right
Now, you went to university and found that, Moiwa. I was like, sorry, who?
No, you're not, Chris.
But
I still call him Christopher because I'm not doing that.
yeah, no, I get
You
it.
found your roots.
No, but that's not his fault. He's a child when he was called Christopher.
No.
Nah, but you
No,
you should have
there's
said
a-
your
you
roots.
can
School,
intentionally-
in college, you
Yeah,
knew
man, you
who
should
you
have seen
were.
your roots,
Because
man.
now it's cool to be African. You want to claim.
You want it really, yeah.
Nah,
Nah,
move,
Yeah.
man.
nah.
No,
Yeah, no.
I ain't rolling with that.
But I feel like the difference
You
though,
sounds like you kind of doing that a little bit.
No,
No?
What's your
they
Nigerian
were
name?
calling you Mark in school.
no, my name's Yusuf.
You don't have a Nigerian name.
I do, but that's mine for me. That's not for
So that's Yusuf and that's
you need
it.
to tell.
yeah.
If you're not Nigerian, then you know it. I don't have to
Yeah.
announce it.
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
the
sorry.
but no, I think that I feel like the difference though is that here, what can you pass for? Okay, Jamaican. That's probably the only thing that you can like pretend to be.
Yeah.
Which is still some sort of like an ethnic. You still have to be not regular, like not black. You
Yeah.
know. Whereas in America, like they would just pass off like they're just African American for years, and no one would know. Like especially Yoruba men with like names like Tommy. Gay.
Oluwatomiloba.
Yeah, but like
I'm
they
African
can
American,
get away
so-
with it and be like, "Oh, I'm Tommy."
Tommy, yeah.
Yeah, or like you know, or whatever, or I'm Lola, for like a Lolade or something like that. So
Lola.
they would just kind of like get away with just being like super, super Americanized, and then when they get older and they try to speak pidgin to you, or like when they find out you're Nigerian, it's like,
Yeah, that makes me
It's the
sick.
It's the
That makes me so sick.
oh
you
my
know?
god.
Who was that did that on Love Island this year? That kept doing it. Was it Kenna?
No.
No, it wasn't.
It was,
Don't say Deji.
Deji.
It wasn't
Deji.
Deji.
Yeah,
It was Deji.
Yeah, it was
It
Deji, yeah.
Deji. Oh, you're Nigerian. And then when he fought to India, she's like, I'm Jamaican. And he was like,
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
remember that
Do you
was so
remember
awkward.
that? That was so awkward. Yeah,
that's that's what gives me the biggest ick. Oh my god, I hate when they do that. But yeah, no, American Nigerian men, and they still like Twitter. They still do like Twitter debates. Like, yeah, I think UK, because I'm part of like UK and American Twitter, so I can see like both of the conversations happening. Okay. UK men, I think that they definitely are left in the early 2000s as far as like misogyny is considered.
Yeah,
For 100%.
they're not trying to move.
They're not like
Yeah.
that. I can, because when I see the tweets, I'm like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
2022,
you guys
yeah.
are still there. But American men, what makes it worse with them is that they're very much in today, but they are like still gun. Can you imagine? It's one thing if you're living in 2000 and whatever, and you're still like living the ideals of that, and you're still in La La Land thinking that the world is still 2006.
Yeah.
It's another thing if you're fully in 2022 with all that you know, and you're still acting like you're in 2006.
yeah.
It's crazy. I can't split 50 for for drinks at Chipotle. Chipotle is $9, and you're talking about 50-50. Like, at least here, okay, if you guys go to Hakkasan and you say 50-50, I can understand. Even if it's, Nando's is actually quite expensive still.
The Nando's
You
is
understand?
cheaper, the prices. Yeah.
But we don't even have like restaurants in America are not like
that high end like that, yeah.
But you got to factor in the tips as well. That's a big chunk.
Tip, tip, that's $5, maybe 10. Maybe if you go with people of 6, maybe 20.
Yeah.
Like, be for real. These are, but the men that are arguing this, it's not that they're taking you to these fancy restaurants. They're not taking you to these fancy restaurants.
there you
Take
go.
you to Applebee's 2 for $20.
And he's like, where's your $10?
Mind you.
mad.
Oh my God. The bill is $100 and you're asking me and you're looking at me and I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. Why am I even looking at you? Especially when you're Nigerian. I think what sucks.
Oh, wait, when you're Nigerian,
When
yeah,
you're
like,
Nigerian, it's
you don't
just like,
even, it's never a conversation.
I've never. What
You never
what
think
do I have
about
to do with
it.
my card? What? And then you're on a date with like a Nigerian American boy that adopts American ideals. That's weird because it trips you off. You're on this date with like, I don't know, freaking.
I'll be honest, that's why I love the men back home, yeah, for that, because like I don't even have to think about this. I just show up.
Yeah.
I just show up, look good.
And they take offense if you even try.
They
and
take
like-
offense, and that's my favorite. I love when men take offense to me. It's inject it.
But yeah, no. Absolutely
crazy.
not.
So okay, so in ranking order, so it's Nigerian men from
Yeah,
back
so
home.
Nigerian men from back home.
Have you dated London guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say like Nigerian UK men, then like other UK men,
Okay.
then probably like
Damn, Americans are really
Caribbean
down in the-
American men.
Wow, they're really
Yeah.
down in the bottom.
Caribbean American men, Black American men.
Nah.
Oh wow.
Nigerian American.
Black American men are in the mud.
No, but Nigerian American are even worse because
Yeah.
she put them right at the
No,
bottom.
sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
That's mad. That is wild. But what's next? I know you released an EP. Is it EP album?
LP album, yeah.
Yeah. In October.
Yeah.
So how's that going?
It's going great.
Yeah, love it.
I was actually pretty surprised to see like how many people like and the type of people that tuned in too.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's been going great. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of the songs I had written over like maybe 2 years ago. Some of the
Okay.
songs I wrote like the first time I recorded. So it's good to see it finally out. Music videos came out. They
Yeah.
were super dope. You know, being able to like go on podcasts and
Yeah.
speak with people about the project has been really fun. I recently performed it in front of a group of people. That was really, really fun at Soho House in Ludlow, New York City. So yeah, that's been really great.
Yeah.
It's been really exciting to kind of solidify my space in music with the
Yeah.
type of music I make. Because I think with my first EP, everyone was very they enjoyed it, but they were confused. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
what's your sound? Like,
Yeah.
what's your thing? And to be able to do it again, and they're like understanding that I'm not compromising
Yeah.
with choosing a specific niche, that I'm, you know, really pushing forward the idea that an artist could do as many things as she wants to. It's really exciting.
What's your favorite? Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, are you doing any shows like while you're here?
Yeah, so CK has a show on the 20th on Sunday, so I'm opening
sick.
for CK.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
really
I
good.
Thank you.
That is so sick.
Be there, be square.
That's right. What is your favorite process in the whole music? Like from writing, from recording, performing. What is your favorite part? Of all of it?
Performing.
Performing.
Yeah. 100%. Performing. 1,000%. And then,
Forget it.
yeah, because performing to me is just like, the music comes alive.
Yeah.
Like, you just feel it. Like that.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's like a high. Like, you're just forever chasing that high. Like, I've been waiting to feel that
tingle again.
Oh, man. It feels so good. And even though the crowds don't, like, know my lyrics now, but when my friends and, like, people that have been following me are at shows, even if it's 2 people that are singing the songs with me, it feels really great.
It's amazing. So your the LP is called Outside 2. What was the creative process with that? Like, what was that like? Actually, no, you said you recorded some of them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that would be during the pandemic.
Yeah, so some of them, throughout the 2 years I've been creating the songs.
Okay,
so the whole process has just been really long because a lot of it was just held back because of a lot of different opportunities came my way. Like different people would come and say, you know, they want to pitch me to this place, they want to pitch me to that place.
Yeah.
And then each of the feedback would always be like, oh, just pick one, like pick a struggle.
Okay, yeah.
But then eventually I just sat down with one of my managers and was just like, okay, like let's just put Outside 2 together. Because at that point I had recorded in recorded in London, I had recorded in Nigeria, I had recorded in New York, and I had recorded in LA. So, but then everything just didn't sound like cohesive. And it just sounded all over the place because different engineers and, you know, some people, a lot of times when I get in the studio with an engineer, they get excited. They're like, oh, and then they just fuck everything up. So I just took the opportunity with my manager at the time, I was like, I really want to sit down and actually make this a project. So we sat down, organized, and found all of my files because they were scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I booked like a lock-in session. It was like a 3-day lock-in with my original engineer at his original studio in the Bronx, like an attic in the Bronx. And we sat there for 3 days and 3 nights and just finished re-recording like everything from scratch. And he mixed everything, and that was then.
Oh, sick.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So like, what's next? I know it can be a bit annoying for artists when it's like they just release, so you're like, what's next? It's like, you guys haven't even taken this in. Do you know how long this took me to?
You know what I'm saying? That's literally exactly how I feel.
But in general, okay, so not just like album wise, anything like that. What do you want to do
Hopefully
next?
more performances.
Yeah.
I want to get as many performances as I can. Like hopefully more festivals. Just even if it's just to open for like smaller artists, just anything really. Hopefully more traveling. I definitely want to visit like some of my most of my listeners are in like Australia and like the Netherlands and stuff. Yeah, it was really shocking. In Germany, and they've been holding strong for the past like 2 years. They've been like my top 5 countries, which is sick.
That's amazing.
Nigeria was in 72.
Wow.
They were like in 72 for at least. It's just now that they've become top 10 latecomers. Anyway, but the Netherlands, Australia, and Germany, they've been in my top 5 for years. So I just want to hopefully get to show some love in those spaces too. I
also want to know, how do you juggle it all? You're actually a nurse. That's amazing.
Man, I want to be a baller. I don't know. Listen, I just know that I know what I want, and I know in order to get what I want, I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Like this morning, I woke up and I didn't want to wake up, and I was like, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I just literally force myself to make things happen, because if I don't, then they're not. Like I could quit my nursing job, then I would be homeless and carless. So yeah, I just make it happen. I don't think I get a lot of sleep either, but it is what it is. I'll sleep later.
I always appreciate that in people who like have things that they want to do, aspirations and dreams and everything, but they understand that to get there, you got to make sacrifices now. So you got to work a full-time job and be on someone's payroll.
Exactly.
Because that's how this allows me to afford and do the things I need to do to then get to where I want to. I think that's always an amazing thing.
Thank you.
So well done.
Thank you so much.
But so we ask our guests all the time to tell us something that nobody knows about them.
Damn.
We like to know. We like theories.
Like,
We like secrets.
That nobody knows about me.
It might be like an interest or something that you like, a hobby, or it could be anything.
Oh, I like cars.
Okay.
Like,
are you proper into cars?
Like I'm really.
No, so funny. I was
cars.
gonna ask you about a car actually. What car do you drive?
Oh, I drive a Tesla.
The reason I was gonna ask about cars is because I've got Me and my friend said we have a joke about Americans and cars, right? Why do y'all guys love Nissan Altimas so
They're
much?
cheap. Because they're cheap. It's the same way people here like Ford Focuses.
No one really drive Ford Focuses anymore.
No, but they're the
Really?
most popular car.
No,
like,
it's
Fords are the
actually,
most.
yeah,
it's
it
like,
is.
What,
Yeah.
still? What, Focus
Yeah.
still?
Yeah.
It
I've not
literally
seen a
still
Focus for
is.
ages, you know.
Nah,
No, but
What? I'm only gonna say
statistically,
about 10.
Because every time I see like an American person, like it might be a young person,
Yeah,
like post
yeah.
their first car, or it's always a Nissan
They're
Altima.
so cheap. They're so cheap.
It's just hilarious.
And
to
they're
me.
so easy for you to get. So that's probably.
Okay.
I never drove a Nissan though. So.
Period. Okay. Do you know? I have a question actually, because so over here we in the UK in terms of like entertainment, influencing, content, all that stuff. Even like in the wider media, the bigger media, it's like a one in, one out, like one at a time type of vibe. But we always look at America and think that over there, like it's like anyone can get it. Jimmy, because we've grown up in YouTube, for example. We saw Jackie Aina, we saw Aaliyah J. Should I pause for the listener?
No, finish your question.
Yeah, so we saw like Aaliyah J, Jackie Aina, like Beauty by Shayla. It looks as if like over there, it's not a one in, one out. Like Jackie Aina didn't have to do what she needed to do.
Yeah.
Then when
To let
she was
someone-
kind of used
Done,
up,
then
you
use
go
another
and it's
one.
next. Is that a reality?
I think so. Yeah. I will say actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in America, like you said, but then we also have to think about like how big America is in
I
comparison
think
to
yeah,
here.
we forget that.
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
different spaces, and there's so many different spaces and niches like within the Black culture in America. Like not every Black person, like of course you have like your African influencers, then you'll have your African American influencers, then you'll have the one that can kind of cross over, then the one that's in real estate, the one that's in beauty. Here, the whole Black experience is just one experience. It's just one, like, you know, where that's why it is just like one champion. And because then again, because this isn't like, because there's no like native Black British people, a lot of the cultures kind of like intermix. So one person can represent the Black community. Like one person could, because they understood, like most Africans can't understand Caribbean culture, and most Caribbeans understand African culture.
Yeah.
So that's probably why there's not like a lack of representation if they pick, at least what they perceive to be.
Yeah.
There's no lack of representation when they pick one person.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference.
Hey, we have a caller for you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Put your headphones on.
Not a
please.
caller.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
Hello.
Hey.
Girl, it's Stacy.
Oh, girl.
What you doing over here?
Hey.
The scream that I scrumped when I looked at my screen and I
it's
saw
the
you, I
scrump.
said, no fucking way.
Oh
First
my
of all,
God.
I watch the show every day.
Oh,
every
really?
day.
I didn't know
And
that.
today, my nap didn't hit the way it was supposed to, so I was going to sleep. I'm on the East Coast, so
I
it's
love
5
that.
a.m. out here. It's 5 a.m. out here.
Oh wow.
So when I looked at my screen, because the way they did the transition, I said, no. I
That's dope.
have to say, I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Thank you
glad that
so
you're getting to
much.
screams. Literally, like you're growing, you're doing so well. I was literally in the chat. The first part when you came on was muted. So when I saw you, I was in the chat. I was like, y'all follow her at 610.
Oh, thank you so much.
Like literally, like I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy. My parents are probably gonna wake up because they're sleeping upstairs, but I don't care, girl.
Aw.
Happy to see you on
Thank you so much,
streams.
Stacey. Love you too.
Oh, this is so wholesome. I love this.
That's dope.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's
Stacey's
so
a real
sweet.
one.
That's dope.
All right. Also, have another question for you. Sorry, girl. Let me just get my doc up. So yeah. So what has been your biggest life lesson?
Manage your expectations and like live in the moment, I think. Because when you expect a lot of the times, or when you expect, when you like forecast, you are kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. Because not only just disappointment, but there's no such thing. You can't forecast your life, because God is the one that has like the end all say all anyway.
Word.
And a lot of the times his plans for you are 100. There's no dream that you can dream that he's not going to provide 10, 11,000 times more.
Amen.
So there's just really no point.
Yeah.
And that takes away from you living in the moment. And I think one of the things that I've learned is I just have to live in the moment. Because when I look back at all of my accomplishments, I'm like, dang, I remember when that happened, and I don't even think that I got to feel
Yeah.
what it is to how I'm feeling being able to say it.
Yeah.
You know, like graduating from college or graduating from high school, I was just like, oh, something I just have to do. But then I didn't really realize that it was really an accomplishment that I should have really like basked in and like invited people to and celebrated,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, definitely living in the moment.
What is your tribe called? Like your fan base? Is it It Girls?
I don't know. I want it to be like it was.
I think
it's
that'd be
fun-
sick, you know.
Yeah, it's been like kind of teeter-totter because one of my first songs is like called Spicy.
Okay.
So at first it was like spices, but now like it can't be because I spice. And no one listens to Spicy anymore. Like not they don't listen to Spicy, but like that's not my that's just a song. Yeah. So yeah, now it's been like It Girls or like It Crew or It Boys. So that's
It
kind of
Girls,
been
yeah.
like where it's been at.
Yeah.
And I didn't choose it, so that
speaks
that
to-
makes
that's-
more sense.
yeah,
Exactly,
definitely.
because everyone else has been kind of been like, oh yeah. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna rock with it. I like
Yeah.
it.
I like that. I
Yeah.
think that's nice. I think that's
What's
really
your
good.
thoughts on Ice Spice anyway?
Huh?
Ice Spice. What's your
I
thoughts on
think
Ice
she's
Spice?
super dope. I think what's happening to her is what happened to Doja. Like where that Moose song came out and we were like,
Yeah.
turn this shit off.
Bitch, I'm a cow.
And then, and then we were like, oh, this kind of goes. And then she came out with Rumors and we were like, ah, she's taking it. I think that exact thing is gonna happen with Ice Spice. I think the difference is that we are in a space where we're not allowing artists to develop. Like, because before they used to keep like artists under wraps. Like they'll find the talent, it'll be really raw and really great, and then you wouldn't see the artist. Like we would be forgetting it. They'll push somebody else for a while, and then during that time, this artist is doing like all of these rehearsals, doing really small showcases. You know, getting choreographers, getting stylists, and and then they pop out of nowhere. Like how Rihanna kind of like.
Oh yeah.
People think it's out of nowhere, but they had been kind of grooming her. How they groomed, you know, Beyonce, and they groom all of these artists behind the shadows. But now, because of social media, you're not even
We
letting.
see them get their deals right in front of us. Yeah.
You understand? Like I remember when people started signing deals in front of us. That was weird. Like seeing on Instagram someone sign a record deal, we never saw that before.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, or like seeing their advance cash in hand. We've never seen that before. So I think time is I think with time and with like the proper support, she's probably gonna be like one of the bigger female artists. I was listening to Bikini Bottom and
I really like that now.
You like Bikini Bottom?
really like that.
I really like it's such a tune now.
It's such a
really
oh my
like
god,
it.
it's so good. Like
I really like it now.
I'm gonna have to listen to it again. I don't
No,
share,
do.
share the same sentiment
Do.
right now.
Dude, I was getting ready and I literally just had it on loop. I said
I
this
think
is
I think her first song blew up way faster than her development.
follow up. Okay,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So by the time the second song dropped, it's like
What's that first song?
Munch.
much.
That's not really her first song. It's
Well,
her
not her
it's
first song. That's the first song that
blew
blew.
up. Yeah.
I
You
don't
feel I'm
recall.
feeling you?
You do. You thought that
No,
was
really?
Munch.
That nigga was
Nothing
Munch.
on Munch.
Anything baby.
Wait, hold on. Your first is
Introduction to
Bikini
her.
Bottom.
It really is.
Oh.
Really?
This song's
Yeah.
like viral.
That's great.
Crazy viral.
Really?
Yeah, Munch.
Yeah.
On
Munch.
like TikTok.
Because it's during like
You thought I was
lockdown
feeling you?
time.
No, this is
No,
like the other
this-
day.
this is
No.
it.
Oh, the Meek was singing in the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, no, but that's
For Meek to be a reference to this song is a
Oh
problem.
wow! You don't know the actual original song?
I actually do not.
Oh, Esther.
Wow.
I
You
really
thought I was
don't.
feeling
The
you?
Shade Queen. You don't know?
Oh, I think I might have heard it, but I don't like I
You
don't
might have heard it, but
put
you didn't know it was
Ice Spice
her.
and
You didn't know it was her.
yeah, I did not put it
Yeah.
together.
But yeah, I think just some artist.
I just was a meme, you know. I thought I was feeling anything.
No,
So
that's
you got the
a
caption
song.
and everything.
it's a song.
Damn.
Yeah, so.
But I
You
think
be
yeah,
your own
with
member
time,
of stuff.
because not everyone is like what's it called? Opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that she just needs. Honestly, I wouldn't even say people need to give these people more grace. When
I think
Lil
that's
Baby
the thing,
came
yeah.
out, when Lil Baby came out,
Yeah.
he wasn't doing what he was doing now. You understand? When even like there's so many artists, like there's obviously you have your natural born talent. You have
Yeah.
those people
Yeah.
that are like
Yeah.
just naturally inclined to perform and whatever. But then you have those people that are like introverts, for example, that make really great music, but they
Yeah.
just don't know. And then you just have people who knew that music was gonna get them out the hood. And you know, and if you look at some acts, like, and you look at how 21 Savage when he used to perform. I love 21 Savage,
Yeah.
but when he used to perform, it was terrible. He would just kind of like
Is that,
a lot
yeah.
of gang shit, yeah, murder gang shit, just pacing
Up and down, up and down.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. And like, if I gave up on him because he didn't have that stage presence, I wouldn't be able to enjoy who he is today.
Yeah.
So we have to give that same grace to female artists.
Do you think Nicki Minaj is going outside right now?
She's already gone outside.
I think, you know what, with Nicki Minaj, I just really wish that a lot of people failed her. And so what's going on now is just like a result of that. So she did an interview where she felt like she got her body done because of what the men surrounding, not because they explicitly told her, but because of what they were like kind of championing around her. I think that Nicki Minaj grew up in an age where she was told it was only one female artist.
Yep.
You understand? She was told she didn't get that. She never got a cosign from a female rapper. She didn't. She never had to like, what she probably had to ask for, how to get features back then was probably really gross. What she had to, because she was in a very male, not only was she in a male dominated space, she was with Young Money. And those were like the militia back then, you know? Being in Atlanta, having to cross around people like Gucci Mane and things like that.
Waka.
You understand what I'm saying? So she had it really, really rough. So for her, I think it's kind of like when your parents still think that if you go out past a certain time, someone's going to shank you. You understand? But they don't understand that, like, times have changed, or like, you know, they don't understand that, no, you can hold your own, or whatever the case. I think that's what Nicki is just struggling with, is that times have kind of changed, and you have to get with the idea that you're getting older, and you have to get with the idea that you're not necessarily transitioning out, but there's more people. You know?
I agree with you. Because the thing is, I'm a barber, right? I've had some very embarrassing moments in my life, arguing to the death of me about Nicki Minaj. But I've had to resign.
Yeah.
Because it's all just a bit too much.
Yeah.
And I think I understand that, because I always say that with human beings, right, you can be conditioned in a way, you can be socialized in a way, you can be, what you're used to could be what you're used to because it's how you've been raised. However, at some point, you need to start taking control and accountability. So with her, I understand all that. I think I watched that interview, and it's sad. It's sad to hear. However, I think that she needs to understand now that the culture is different. It's not a one in. Like, it wasn't a Lil Kim. Then after Lil Kim, now it's you. After, do you get me? It's not that anymore. And I think what even makes it sadder for me is that the people that come in respect her. They look at her and like,
she doesn't
you're
know
Nicki
that.
Minaj. She doesn't know that, and she doesn't. And I think it's not that she doesn't know that as well. I think she doesn't appreciate what it is that she is an influence to these people. And so you then look at them.
She don't rate her position.
Say again?
I don't think she rates her position.
She doesn't. And I don't think she recognizes her position either. Because then when this would be a case where you're like a mentor to these girls, and like, do you get me? Like, what you've been through, they don't have to go through it. But instead, you see them, even when they're praising you, you see them as competition.
But that's because she hasn't accepted that she's not...
Like the only one.
By you, not even that. By you telling her to appreciate these young girls, you're telling her to retire. Not in music, but you're telling her to retire her position in the game. So it's kind of like telling someone that is a player to become a referee. You know, and it's just like, or not even a referee, a commentator. You know, the ones that comment on the game. And it's like, no, I'm still in the game. Like, and so that's why it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like she feels like the labels are also, and I do think she does.
I do believe that, and the radios, I believe that.
I do think she does need to take an accountability in the way that she responds, because at the end of the day, no one should feel, no matter how you feel, people are supposedly treating you, or even if you feel like you're slipping away, I think that there's a way that you have to channel that energy to the appropriate sources and not just take it out on every single person that goes against you. But I can understand why that's happening, because it's kind of like when you're in a fight, right? And there's people that are trying to pull you out of the fight. You're not thinking that this person is trying to stop me from fighting. You just think that they're trying to swing on you. So you're just like, like you're just swinging at everybody, because as far as you're concerned, you're trying, like, you're just fighting for your life. And I think that's what she's going through.
I do think that to an extent she has been sad, because I remember in all the New York DJs, but they basically blacklisted, none of them, not a single soul was playing her music. But I think like with her, it's I think there are things that have happened to her, and I do think behind the scenes she is being antagonized a lot.
Yeah.
And then what we see, unfortunately, is her public response to these things, but we don't have context. However, I do
Right.
think that there are parts sis needs to take accountability for, like, ma'am, come on now. Do you get what I mean? But yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. I do agree that she definitely needs to just hold herself accountable. And just, it's okay to apologize sometimes. It doesn't have to be on social media. You can do it behind the scenes. I just feel like she just feels like she's fighting for her life to still
And her relevance.
and it's like, you were never gonna be irrelevant.
And you're Nicki Minaj.
You're literally Nicki Minaj. I don't think she doesn't know that she's Nicki Minaj. I think that, like I said, she just feels like people are trying to take her out the ring, and she just feels like she's not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah, but we've really, really enjoyed having you. We're really proud of you and looking forward to all the amazing things you've got to do.
Thank you so much.
And I pray that all your dreams and everything that you want to do will
Amen.
come true.
Amen.
But-
From your lips to God's ears.
Amen to that. But our next segment is called Sis, What Would You Do?
Okay.
And I think it'd be really, really cool to have a different perspective with us for this. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's get into Sis, What Would You Do?
Fine.
Oh, no,
It's
it's
fine.
like a
Okay.
dilemma segment, so it's their dilemma.
Oh,
So
okay.
We're fine.
Okay,
We just have to
okay.
give them advice. So, hi, girls. Absolutely love the show. Esther, you have been holding down the fort like a boss. Gina, love that you've joined the crew. Very soon, you'll see how much you learn and grow from this experience. I can't lie, I've never listened to any of your individual podcasts, but I've now subscribed to them both now that I've gotten to see how relatable and bossy you both are. Thank you. Appreciate that. Weirdly enough, the men on here aren't even that bad either.
Shade, but no
I
shade.
love it. You got to see
Shade,
people
but no
have
shade. Yeah.
You two, I'm not gonna say nothing. Yes, when the normal misogynistic type topics come up, you get the regular strays, but dogs will always chase the bone, I guess. See. But all in all, they're quite digestible. I'm especially impressed with Margs and his range. I never thought I'd ever champion a group of men like that, which in itself says more about the state of society today and how it's conditioned me than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I love this platform and the blend of voices and opinions. May God continue to bless and prosper you all. Amen. So, sis, as we are on God, not her praying and then saying, So, sis, as we are on God, can he really, really change people? Can people really, really, really change? I recently found out, okay, trigger warning, guys, sorry. I recently found out that my boyfriend of 4 years had a problem with alcohol abuse and domestic violence 7 years before we met. He's now a born-again Christian and has been for 4 years. He doesn't drink at all, and he's always said that he gave it up because he didn't like how it made him behave. Only to come and find out that he'd been arrested a couple times due to domestic violence. I have never seen him display any signs of aggressive behavior towards me, and I've never lived with him. We have been talking about moving in together, and where I've never been given reason to pause on how I feel about him and us, this new information has me pausing. So ladies, what do you think I should do? Can a man change? The fact he didn't tell me this information, is this telling? Should I take that as a lie of omission? I do love this man, but is this man who I believe he is? Please help. Any advice is welcome. I'm also part of the community, so if anyone else in the community has an advice, I'd love to hear it. Brent, can you please make a post for me, as I don't want to share my identity, if that's okay? I'm sure that's okay, Brent, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so what are we telling her? We'll let you go first. You're the guest.
Okay. I would tell her not to move forward.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Not because God doesn't change people, but when it comes to violence, if he's not upfront with it, that's already a red flag.
Yeah.
And as someone who has had friends in like domestic violent situations, a lot of the times those things appear when you are in isolated spaces. So living together, and he never brought up that he's been arrested. Like if he can bring up alcoholism, you know, I think that, and I think violence in the same space should be brought up as well.
Yeah.
If you're able to bring up you being an alcoholic and it creates these attitudes, then you should be able to open up and say this.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't see faults in it, then that's probably why he didn't speak up about that.
Yeah.
You know, because people could be children of God and still be
Boy.
100%.
woman beaters. So yeah, I would tell her to not move forward.
Okay, so I think, do you know what? I'm not
So I let you go first.
it's a bit of a sticky one still. Yeah, okay. I do believe that God can change people, and
Yeah.
I definitely believe people can really change.
Yeah.
And I guess it's different when, like you said, like with something like that, you only really know what's going to happen when it's tested.
Yeah.
So you've not been in a situation where maybe you've argued with him or like it's come to a heated moment. So it hasn't been tested, so you don't actually know. I feel like if your spirit is telling you to pause, 9 times out of 10 you should listen to your spirit. There's a reason why
Absolutely.
you're feeling the way you're feeling. That's also not to say don't give him grace either. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that leave the situation, but maybe the whole moving in thing is something that you should like really consider. I do think the fact that he didn't mention it after 4 years of being together is a red flag.
4 years, that's
Because
a lot.
you've
Yeah,
been
4
together.
years.
You've been together with him. You've been with him for 4 years. I'm sure she's saying she only found out now
Yeah.
that he used to have an issue with alcohol and stuff, right?
No, so with that, he's never drank, but he's
No,
told her
but
that
she's
his
told her.
person
He's told her
won't behave.
now that before.
Okay.
I'm.
No, I think
think
the
he
domestic
told
violence is
before.
what he told her about the alcoholism before.
Oh, so she knew that, but she didn't know about DV.
Yeah, so DV is what she's just found out.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, right. And there's obviously a reason why he didn't tell you about the DV stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that it's right that he didn't tell you, but I get it. But that is that's something that someone needs to know.
Yeah, I need
I
to know
think
that.
it's something that you should definitely tell someone at the beginning because it will definitely impact your relationship. And I
Absolutely.
feel like it's like I think it's not fair when you don't give people a chance to make their own decision without a serious
Yeah,
emotional attachment.
Exactly.
You telling
Yeah.
her now 4 years after being together, she's gonna have an emotional attachment to you.
Yeah.
So her decision it's not gonna be
As
easy for her to make
objective as it should have been.
right. So you've
Yeah.
kind of taken that away from her.
Yeah.
So that again is a flag for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know.
What are you
like,
telling her to do?
yeah, just I'm not saying don't move in with him. I think let the dust settle a bit.
Yeah.
And you have to be confident in your decision. The fact that you're shaky, I think, is telling. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you. I think that the fact that he talked about his alcoholism, but didn't talk about this, I can understand because it's like your past, and if you're a new person and everything, I guess you don't want that to, because usually when people leave something else, because you don't want that person to now see you, even though you're this new person, I don't want you to see me in my old light. However, you should never rob anyone of being able to make that decision themselves.
Yep.
I think obviously will come from him hiding it from her would have come from a place of fear
Yeah.
of she might not want to be with me.
Yep.
However, that fear, you still don't know how she would have reacted. You actually you don't know.
Literally.
She might have been like, do you know what? I can see that you're a different person, but you don't have to give me any cause for concern. This is fine. So I don't like the fact that he's robbed her of that. I do think that is definitely a red flag. And I do believe, to answer the first question, yes, God can absolutely change people. Like, absolutely. There's nothing God can't change. People can definitely change. But I do think him intentionally not telling you and you finding out, I always say, if you're not going to tell me something, please don't let me find out. Let you tell me before. Because I feel like even if you hear something for like 5 years and you tell me, it's still better than me having
Than
to
you
find
finding
out
out
myself.
from the
Because
streets.
how long, from the streets,
From
no
the
less.
streets, girl.
How long were you going to keep this from me kind of thing? So I do think it is a red flag. I would say as well, if your spirit's telling me, I'm very big on listening to your spirit.
Yeah.
Every time I haven't, I've regretted it. I've regretted it. Even if it's just in traffic and I'm like, I'm not going to go right. I'm supposed to say left. Now I'm stuck in traffic and I'm late. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say definitely listen to your spirit because it's a massive thing as well. And I would say what Gina said in terms of like, if this was me in a situation, I don't see myself moving forward. I can't lie to you. But I think because your spirit is telling you this, I think sit with it. Don't move in with him yet. I think sit with it.
And
for a while.
also, it sounds like she's a Christian. So for me, pray on it. You said he's a born again Christian.
Yeah,
We're talking
pray on
about
it,
God.
sis.
Pray on it, and I think seek God's faith
Yeah.
base in this scenario. And yeah,
I think that God kind of already told her though.
If you're, do you know what I
generally
believe?
speaking, the fact that your spirit is telling you,
Yeah,
I think God has already told her.
And that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, if you're someone who like, if you pray to God, you talk like you converse with God. Yeah, when your spirit is telling you something, it's not like a hunch or it's God speaking to you through the Holy Spirit. So if my spirit's telling me something, it's a word.
yeah, no, literally. So
Don't your spirit talk to you all about all these different things depending on the season? Just asking for Emmanuel's.
No, you're asking for yourself.
I'm gonna need an explanation of what that means.
No, and to be fair, obviously we don't always listen to our spirit. We know this, innit? And we are selective.
And we get burned.
You generally are selective, innit? But
I've got
as
the
my
scars
mum
to
likes
show
to
it.
say, a word to the wise is enough.
Okay, because I don't always listen.
Yeah.
I've been burned and I can show you the scars. So
Exactly.
yeah, I would say that. But lads, do you wanna? I know you're dying for it.
You women don't mind.
Emmanuel is gagging. Like,
Dying
as a
for
son,
it.
he's like,
He was like, and then he was like,
I literally just saw bed head notes like,
I'm
I was like,
crying.
Go on,
Emmanuel's
King.
gagging.
Alright,
Go
do,
on.
do you know what it is, right? Alright. The first thing is, 6. You mentioned he may not see fault in it because he didn't say it. I don't think that's the case. I think that's the reason why he didn't say it. He sees fault. He loves this woman. And he's thinking, if I tell her this, maybe because I've told another woman in the past about my past, this is over, right? And obviously, based on what you women here are saying, this is likely the case, right? Cool. So I think that's the reason why he's obviously not said anything. I don't necessarily think she's shaky, you know. I think she wants to stay with him. And I think she's looking for a reason to kind of get past this. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think personally. And also, you're talking about being born again, right? And can God really change people? If God can really change people, then shouldn't we play this out?
yeah, but you know what? We've got changing people because God, even the Bible says that if you confess your sins, God will forgive you.
To God.
No. Fair enough. But if you're in a situation where you're now a changed person, I think that in the same breath where you said, because I feel like he tried to breeze over it by saying, I don't like how alcohol makes me. First of all, alcohol don't make you violent if the violence was not already in you. That spirit was already troubling your spirit.
No,
but,
facts.
You know, we say that. So I feel like he tried to breeze past it. But the thing is, again, if we're going to do the whole born again thing and you've been transparent and letting this person, like 4 years, I'm letting you know what it is, like why I'm here, why I'm who I am today, where I've come from. We do that when we talk about emotions and when we talk about how you've grown as an emotional person in a relationship. Talk about, I used to have trust issues. I used to be this way with men and then, but now I am this person. You are transparent about your past and you get here. I think there was some intention in holding back. That's just to answer your question, but that's just to answer your question about the whole born again thing.
Yeah. Okay, like don't get me wrong. I agree with you guys in the sense of he should never have kept this information to himself. He should 100% have been transparent. But I'm kind of just throwing it in there to just make you guys consider why he would have been this way. Because as far as he's concerned, he's thinking, again, if he was listening to the show beforehand, he would have thought, you know what, there's no chance. 100% of the women in here have said, basically, you know what I'm saying, don't consider going forward with him. But also what I would basically say is, if he's born again, then what's he born again for? Is he born again just for salvation? Or is he born again because his life has changed and he's trying to actively make changes? He's actively refused to have alcohol in the last 4 years, right? He's actively treated this woman well. She loves him and she's not seeing any form of aggression. Nothing she's saying, right? To me, that is a changed man, or at least a man who's still going through that change and wants to do good by you. Of course, like you guys are saying, maybe don't move in with him just yet, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my thing is, this man, yes, he's lied to you, and he should never have lied, especially about something serious as this. But this man has not showed you any signs of wanting to hit you, be rude to you. Let me not say the rude thing, but the whole alcohol thing. I think he's actively trying to change his life.
Do you know,
Give him a chance.
Yeah, I think what you should do as well is kind of talk to him and gauge his reaction. If he's very dismissive and very flippant about why I didn't tell you, you better take your shoes off and run tomorrow.
Really,
But I think how he would react to her knowing as well. But I really just think she needs to just really take time to really think. I think this is a very serious thing. As much as he might not have shown you signs and all that kind of stuff, it's what I think it was you that said about it was you. Sorry, when you're really in someone's space, that's when you really get to see what they really, really are like. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, but
bear this in mind, of course, it's not exactly the same, but in 4 years, I would assume they would have spent certain times together, like 2-3 days, maybe this, that, and the third. And she's not seeing any evidence of this.
But you do
Nah,
know
but
that's different to live with someone.
No,
Yeah,
100%.
Living with someone, though, right?
100%. But to say you've seen nothing, you
no,
see what I'm
trust me,
saying?
it happens like that.
No,
It's
I
when
get
you
it, I
move
get
in,
it, I
because
get
there's
it.
people who've been they've been in relationships, well, back in the long time ago days, where people were in relationships for like 10 years before they got married and stuff. And then it's like when you get married, in the first 6 months, you're like, you
Who is
see
this
a
person?
complete,
That's
like,
true.
who is this person? So
That is
for me,
true.
I feel like the amount of time doesn't
Doesn't
always
really,
it doesn't always mean much to me.
You're
personally.
100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. But I don't know. Part of me just thinks this man has obviously changed, right? Or at least is trying to continue in that change.
Yeah.
Especially if you're saying, I'm not going to have any alcohol. I can see this affect my life in a particular way, and I don't want to live that way anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm born again, I actively go to church, actually do these things that obviously impresses you, that drew you to me or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you, but I also just feel like if he was really that changed person, he would have admitted to that as well. Like, you can't just be like, or there would have been like some sort of, the same way, okay, you're going to church, you stopped doing alcohol. What are the things that you're doing to help with your violence? Is he taking, is he doing another outlet for that? Is he taking anger management classes? Or
That's true.
is there
He's working on that.
anything,
That's
what
true.
what is it that he's actively doing to better that part of his life? Because he's bettered his spirituality, he's bettered his alcohol use, but he doesn't, if he doesn't have anything that's actively working on that problem, then that means I'm not going to say that means he doesn't see it as a problem, but he's not not being intentional about correcting that
That is a word,
violent
actually.
nature.
Yeah. You said anything to...
No, you guys have covered it quite well, man. I mean, as Gina knows, my life is very real, so I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, I hope we've helped you, sis. As you guys know, we have segments. We have asking for a friend, sis, what would you do? If you would like to send your dilemmas in, voice notes, text, WhatsApp, the number is 075 6484 1073. You can also email tdasubmissions@thenewblack.com. Let us know what segment it's for. And let's get into our last headlines for today.
So, the UK Security Minister, Tom Tugendhat, has been banned from driving for 6 months after being caught driving with his mobile phone in his hand. The Tory MP for Tonbridge and Morlin was stopped by police in his Skoda 4x4 in Wandsworth on the 14th of April. Tugendhat, who lives in Clapham, southwest London, appeared for a sentencing hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court on Thursday. The judge said using a mobile phone in any way is a distraction. Without any doubt, it impairs people's ability to drive. I would expect you to set a good example for the rest of us.
Oh, damn.
Geraldine Dickinson, who was prosecuting, told the court that Tugendhat was pulled over by police on Wandsworth High Street after officers spotted that the MP's phone was in his left hand. She said he noticed that the driver was using a handheld phone. The device was being held in the driver's left hand, and he saw this in broad daylight for around 20 seconds. Wait, laughing.
That's just a very funny detail. In broad daylight, 20 seconds. All right, hon.
She said the officer confirmed that Tugendhat was not using the phone to call emergency services. It was confirmed that they were using maps, she said. Paul Morris, who was defending, said his client accepted he would receive a driving ban. He did not offer any mitigation of exceptional hardship that would be caused by Tugendhat being banned from driving. Tugendhat therefore received 6 penalty points on his driver's license for the offence, added to the 6 he already had for 2 previous driving offences, leading to him being banned for 6 months. The security minister also received a £1,000 fine and was ordered to pay a surcharge of £100 and costs of £110.
Do you know what the other 2 offences were? So he just does this. Yeah, get that man off the wheel, man. That is wild. That's ridiculous.
And our next 2 headlines takes us back home, man, to Nigeria. So,
Trigger warning.
yes, trigger warning.
I'm gonna...
Not trigger warning.
No, it really is a trigger warning.
The authorities in Nigeria's northwestern state of Kaduna have confirmed the death of a top militia leader during a shootout with the army on Sunday. A state government spokesman said Kachala Gudao was among scores of gunmen killed when they attacked the military facility. It's alleged he was responsible for multiple kidnappings, killings, and illicit drugs operations. It came as the Nigerian Air Force said it had carried out airstrikes on bandits' hideouts in several locations within the state, killing scores of them. With 3 months to go before Nigeria's presidential election, security forces appear to have stepped up their attacks on suspected gangs.
Boy.
And the last thing, again, about Nigeria, bit of a trigger warning, sad news as well. The Nigerian authorities said that 133 million people in the country are living in poverty. That is more than 6 out of every 10 Nigerians.
What?
Yes.
I was just going to Google how many people are in Nigeria. Because them figures are
200
wild.
something plus 250 maybe. Yeah, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has come up with the figure by looking at what is known as multidimensional poverty, where how much money someone has is considered alongside their access to education and basic infrastructure. It was the first time a Nigerian government institution had used this method to measure poverty levels. And the NBS said among the key problems were the lack of access to health and education, as well as the lack of clean energy for cooking. 133 million people.
Yeah, there's 211 million people.
That's
Yeah.
That's proper wild.
Yes, hopefully this presidential campaign thing in February, I believe, will do something.
well.
I don't know.
I just hope.
First time ever.
Who
But
you voting for, Six?
Oh, unfortunately,
he said, unfortunately.
I cannot disclose my political. No, but I really do feel. I don't know. I feel like Nigeria is such a special place. So just, I mean, I know I acknowledge my space of privilege, my immense space of privilege. So I try not to like speak on behalf, but like from my own perspective, I just feel like a lot of what we accomplish in the state that it is now is incredible and marvelous, right? So I can only imagine what it could be if like the country would be stabilized. But
I think it'd be amazing. If it, yeah.
you know, it could be like, I feel like we could, not to be corny, you know, because Wakanda is a fictional place, but like if Nigeria was stable, I think that we have the brilliance and like the natural talent of a place that is fictional.
That's amazing.
Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's kind of like, it just sucks that that's happening, and they just have to. No, who are you gonna hold? It's a country full of narcissists, so
Boy,
you know.
Would you
like,
start?
who are you? It's.
Yeah, for real.
it's a damn
Exactly.
shame. That's
It's
what it is.
just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One day.
One day, by God will save Nigeria
I hope so.
for sure.
But
But
yes,
yeah. Let's get into our favorite segment. This the reaction, the sports headlines.
Oh yeah.
So, the first thing is about the Qatari royal family. Right now, they're pressuring FIFA for a complete ban on selling alcohol at all World Cup stadiums, just 2 days before the controversial tournament kicks off.
I need to understand why they put the hat in the ring for all the things they're doing.
But yeah,
Wait, World Cup stadiums like during the World Cup and like they want to ban.
they want to ban the
Yeah.
selling of
Okay.
alcohol. Yeah, at the stadiums. Yeah. So the hosts have put significant pressure on FIFA to stop selling Budweiser beer, which is one of the football body's largest sponsors. Right? If the U-turn goes ahead and Budweiser is unable to sell beer or have any visibility, FIFA will be in breach of a multi-million-dollar contract.
Ooh.
That's mad.
It is unclear whether fans will be allowed to buy beer at matches, with the only place that the availability of alcohol is certain is in the Doha fan parks. It's understood that the pressure to scrap the existing beer policy comes from the Qatari royal family. And the Times says that the removal of sales of Budweiser is now likely after Qatari royals intervened. FIFA have already made one concession this week to the Qatari hosts on the availability of Budweiser in stadiums. The Qatar organisers insisted the Budweiser concession stands were too obtrusive. FIFA agreed to move them into positions where they would be less visible in a highly unusual change to the sponsorship agreement so close to the start of the tournament. But the New York Times reported that the order came from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, who is the brother of Qatar's ruler. And just 3 months ago, FIFA also agreed to move the starting date of the event a day earlier so that the hosts could be playing in the only match on the opening date.
Wait, so the what? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And if the U-turn goes ahead, the only place alcohol will be available in stadiums will be inside hospitality boxes. And the cost of one of those boxes starts at $22,450.
Okay. All right, people. What are we
for
doing
one
here?
match.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, didn't really want to talk about the Ronaldo thing too much. But what I would say is Gary Neville spoke out and says pretty much there's no way back for Cristiano Ronaldo at Man United after his explosive criticism of the club and the manager, but he insists he's not against his former teammates. He said he wouldn't have done this interview if he wanted a way back. He knew it would bring the headlines. He knew it would bring
fuck y'all job.
Basically.
Y'all keep it.
Yeah, man. He said he knew it would bring the headlines it has and be the end of his Man United career. Man United have not yet indicated what action they may take following Ronaldo's interview, but Neville went on to say, I'm wondering what Man United are doing, because the reality of it is they know they have to terminate Cristiano's contract, or they basically open up a precedent so any player can criticise them in the future. Said, I agree with some of the things Cristiano has said, and many Man United fans will agree with many things that he said. But the reality is, if you're an employee within a business and say those things, your employment has to terminate, and Man United have to do that in the next few days.
Yeah. Well, me and Mark's kind of covered it yesterday, but
Yeah.
shout out to Ronaldo though, because he said that he wants Arsenal to win the league. So
Oh, is it?
yeah. He said
Okay.
if not United, which isn't going to happen, of course,
Definitely not.
that he wants Arsenal to win the league. So shout out to Ronaldo, man.
Yeah,
He's
big up
giving
Ronaldo.
Arsenal his blessing. Come on.
The choke codes.
Yeah, just girl, don't even.
I'm going to
Get me
ask actually,
started.
do you watch any sports? I was going to ask you about
Yeah, I
your
watch baseball.
baseball.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's the
Baseball?
most. It's the most boring sport. It's actually quite interesting.
I was going to
But
ask you
I do watch
who your
some sports.
NBA team was. If
Oh,
you
I don't
one.
have an NBA team.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the first black person to watch baseball.
I get that a lot, but baseball is, I don't know. I just like baseball.
Well, I can't engage.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Also, Senegal forward Mane,
Yeah.
he's out of the World Cup,
yeah.
man. He's out of the World Cup
There's
due
so
to a
many,
leg injury.
so many players getting injured
Yeah.
last minute, man.
Sad,
It's-
Are they really getting injured? Or are they getting injured?
what do you mean?
What does
They
that
don't want to
mean?
play the. Well, I would have thought everyone would rest so you guys can really play in the actual.
Oh, in the league.
The leagues.
No, World Cup
Nah,
means
nah, nah,
everything,
nah.
man.
Is
Yeah,
it?
it's the biggest. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think the
man.
World Cup this year is not going to start, but that's just my opinion.
We shall see. But yeah, man, he picked up an injury to his right fibula in Man United's 6-1 win over Werder Bremen last Tuesday. And yeah, man, unfortunately, long story short,
Yeah, he's out.
he's
He's
out.
out.
I feel sorry for athletes.
Yeah, because boy, you fall wrong and that could be the end of your career, man.
But like, they're not even, like, that's actual real pain.
Yeah.
That's visceral pain. And then they hurry up and try to get back.
Yeah.
No, that's terrible. So sorry.
So you gotta have investments, man. I'm just thinking about the money.
Yeah, for real. And the last thing is Kyrie Irving, our good man Kyrie Irving, man. I wanted to give a little update.
Not an hour, child. You're a good man.
Kyrie Irving could reportedly make his comeback from suspension against the Memphis
Oh, sick.
Grizzlies on Sunday.
Okay.
The star was banned by the Brooklyn Nets until he satisfied a series of objective remedial measures.
It's killing me because we know the back. We know why he was banned.
I have to remind the people of the atrocities, right? That address the harmful impact of his conduct after posting just a link to the Amazon page of the
Oh
film.
no, I'm done.
Mute his mic, will ya?
You know what you know what that sounded like? Just a tip.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little
Just a
bit.
little bit.
The 30-year-old is now closing in on a return by meeting the road to redemption measures, according to ESPN. Sources say that Irving has taken responsibility of the steps mapped out for his route back.
That's good.
Goddamn shit.
Wait, you said something about the Grizzlies, though.
Yeah. So he may return against them on Sunday.
Oh, okay, to play
Yeah,
against
to
them.
play
Okay.
against them, yeah. So he was suspended for at least 5 games and served the minimum ban on Saturday. But the owner, Joseph Tsai, said Irving still had work to do at their win over the LA Clippers. Still said he's got work to do. All right. So,
We all have work to do as human beings.
all right. Well, anyway, yeah. So the NBPA executive director, Tamika Tremaglio, told ESPN on Wednesday, Kyrie is continuing his journey of dialogue and education. He has been grappling with the full weight of the impact of his voice and actions, particularly in the Jewish community. Kyrie rejects anti-Semitism in any form, and he is dedicated to bettering himself and increasing his level of understanding. He plans to continue this journey well into the future to ensure that his words and actions align with his pursuit of truth and knowledge.
I have a quick question. Do you think he watched the movie?
I think he did, you know.
I don't think he
You
did.
don't think so? I think he did. And I think the things that spoke to him are the things he wanted people to see.
To see. But I think if you wanted people to see the things that spoke to you, you could always just, like, you ever watched like a movie or like a podcast and then there's like a specific clip, you don't send someone the whole podcast.
Yeah, but like, listen to this part.
Be like, listen to
Yeah,
this. This
yeah.
is what
Timestamp.
I
What-
really
what-
don't think
what-
he watched that movie. I think he might have heard that this movie is talking about X, Y, and Z, and or like from the part that he might have related to in the movie, and then just like some people are just very careless in sharing things or lazy rather, and like let me go find the clip,
Yeah.
and then he just lazily was like, oh, this. Because if he really watched that movie, I doubt that, in as much as like, I have a thing with hoteps anyway. I just feel like, just be for real. You know what I'm saying?
Be for fucking real, okay?
Like, because a lot of it just, and it's not their fault. I think it has a lot to do with like Black Americans having to feel like they have to grapple for like a sense of identity and sense of self, which I can relate to being from so many different places. But like, I really don't think he watched that movie. And a lot of people don't know that anti-Semitism like comes in that form, because I have a Jewish friend, and I have a couple of Jewish friends, but I remember we had said something about like something about like her being rich or something about getting a Jewish lawyer or something. And like, she's so sweet, but her whole body language completely changed. And at first I was like, that's such a good stereotype.
Exactly.
You know what my stereotypes are, but then now with like further information, like I understand like why that is considered to be offensive. But in the same breath, it's like, I don't think that the intention of being anti-Semitic was there with Kyrie. I just think he was very careless in the way that he did things. And then a lot of the times when you're careless about something, you try to justify your carelessness by double downing on like, so you don't, because some people find it more of a, like, some people find it worse to be named careless than
admitting they were
admitting that they were like, wrong or whatever. Like some people would rather, no, I said what I said, even though good and damn well they know that they don't. But yeah, hopefully I'm not gonna say hopefully he learns his lesson. I'm just gonna say Kyrie has a history of kind of being on the opposing view of everything, because he's grappling for some sort of sense of, I don't know what he's looking for, of like just being anti-government, anti-systems, but he participates in one of the biggest systems in the world, which is the sports and entertainment industry. So you really just have to pick a struggle.
But he may want to influence people through that particular thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's great, yes, but if you're influencing people, this is my issue with a lot of people that go into arts and entertainment. If your decision to go into arts and entertainment is to influence people and use your platform for something positive and for positive change, be well informed in what you're saying, because your influence, you know what your influence is. I know that as a regular person, I can have a discussion with everyone, and I can say whatever I want because I'm just going to be influencing who is around me. As an artist, I've seen that change in me, where whatever I say, I'm very careful about what I say, how I say it, and where I say it, because I know that impact is 10, 20 times more. Elon Musk, for example, can literally change the stock market by a tweet.
Yep.
Do you understand? We saw it happen throughout the pandemic. All he had to tweet was Dogecoin, and Dogecoin made people millions. Yeah. So you have to understand your platform. I don't give people excuses for that at all, because you can't just say, oh, well, I'm using my platform. I'm here so that I can incite change. No, you loved basketball. Then you realized that you had a platform. Okay, I'm not saying that athletes shouldn't speak. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to have political views. I'm saying that be careful in what you're saying and make sure that you're well-versed. I'm not telling you to read journal articles and all of that kind of things, because I don't read journal articles. But I know that when I speak, I'm not going to speak on something that I know nothing of. For example, just now, I brought up the anti-Semitism, right? I don't remember fully what the connection is between Jewish people being rich and how that's offensive. But I remember that feeling. So I'm not going to sit here and dive into it and say, oh, yeah, I watched a documentary on this and this and this.
I hear you.
That's just my thing.
I think, like, again, I hear what you're saying, but to me, I think it's a bit unfair if, for example, we have a podcast, like, for example, you've got your show here.
Yeah.
About 3 hours now, right?
Oh.
And, and if there's several parts of the show that I want people to see, I'm not realistically going to tweet the link to this and put 20 different timestamps. I'm not going to do it, right? And in a documentary like that, 3 hours, I think it was, to me, I think majority of the information there was not to attack anybody, but was literally just to edify black people in America and let them know, at least from the director's standpoint, that they are the original Hebrews. And I think he resonated with that and is like, cool, guys, this is us. This benefited me. I think this can benefit you. And I think, I get that obviously people were offended by it, but I think most people don't believe he's anti-Semitic. I really think
I don't
that's the
think
case.
people believe
And
it.
to make him, to belittle him, to make him go through these 6 steps, to make him have to go and speak to the ADL, who typically speak to you about Jewish pain and this, that, and the third, take it to Holocaust museums, all these things that I guess, that's to me is not necessary. Not necessary, right? And do this in front of the world, I think it's just far too much. It wasn't necessary. And I think many people, because of this, are waking up to this climate and recognizing that, you know what, even if I disagreed with Kyrie in the beginning, what this has showed me is that certain people do certain things. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only difference is that with his repercussions, and then again, we're just hearing a lot of her headlines. I think his repercussions came from his resistance, and then I think at the same time, the reason why we're seeing it as a big deal is because we don't exercise those same things in our own community. I personally feel that, to be quite frank, I think that the steps in which that they gave him to educate himself and to kind of rehabilitate himself are actually quite necessary, because in order for him to learn more about, it could have been so easy for them to just slap a fine on him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have learned why that movie was offensive. He would have just been like, oh, okay, now I know not to post anything Jewish. It would have been easy for him to say sorry. Oh, but then he still wouldn't know why that movie was offensive. It could have been easy for them to say, okay, you have to go meet with the ADL only. Okay.
They still wouldn't have the information.
He wouldn't have the information he needs to understand. To see. The reason why we're seeing it as a big issue, because we don't exercise that same amount of rehabilitation within our own community. Do you understand? Like, because when it comes to like the LGBTQAI community, people are forced to be educated in themselves to know that if that type of attitude and behavior that is the thing is, it's not even that you're anti, you're creating a space for that conversation. It's not that you're anti-Semitic. You're creating a space for anti-Semitic behavior by reposting that. But because, unfortunately, the Black community, we do not exercise that level of, we just say, oh, go shake Reverend T.D. Jake's hand. And that's it. And that's enough. Or come on somebody's podcast and say, I didn't mean it. And that's enough. We don't exercise that. So that's why we're like, it's too much. But no, look internally and say, maybe we should look at what they're doing. You know, we might not have spaces of power. We might not be the head of this and that, but we have power.
Of course we do.
We have power in other realms. I was just speaking on a panel about this the other day. They were talking about hip hop has lost its magic. Hip hop has lost its magic because we're looking at other spaces. We have power. We do. Yeah. We just have to exercise it.
I agree with you. I think Black people definitely need to come together and use that power and make sure we let people know what's good out here. But
like Jessie Nielsen now, that's doing blackfishing. You people have let her continue to make music
bad boys.
And work with certain producers. And nobody sat her down and showed her.
This is what you're doing.
This is what you're doing. Look at what this blackface impacts. No, you cannot work with these producers. No, you cannot be part of this label. No, you cannot have your music played on Black radio stations. No, you cannot do this. We're not doing that. We're just making fun of it on Twitter. But then something like Kyrie happens and then we're like, oh, it's too harsh. Maybe you need to reevaluate what your idea of harsh is.
Okay. I hear you on that.
Very intelligent
I
word.
That's just
I definitely hear you on that. But the only thing I would say is all of that's related to Jessie, whatever her name is, making music. The ADL don't do anything to do with basketball.
Because even if you said that Jessie needs to speak with Black women that have been bleaching their skin and that are in the hospital for recovery from bleaching their skin, that's the same thing. Yeah. I understand the ADL, but the ADL is, what do you want him to do? To talk to people about basketball? No, he spoke about an issue that had nothing to do with basketball, that had to do with the general consensus of people. Yeah. And he's on an international platform. Not a lot of people know Jessie Nielsen. Yeah, I said music but he doesn't really understand the weight of what
where should his priorities be? Should his priorities be trying to educate Black people, or should it be trying to make sure the people in power in NBA and the Jewish community prevent him from saying certain things.
What do you mean?
Because again, assuming he watched the video and everything, right? To me, he wanted to let people know what he knows from watching the video. You see what I'm saying?
His audience is not just black people.
Yeah, but a big part of the audience are. And if he wants them to know something, how would he go about doing that?
That's not what the thing that he's trying to let people know is harmful, and it's creating a space for things to happen. So regardless of it is harmful because you're creating a space for these conversations to happen. Now let's rewind before Kyrie Irving posted this movie.
Yeah,
people were talking about Black Israelites since. It's not like if that otherwise the movie wouldn't have been made, right?
That's true.
Okay, let's rewind. Before Kyrie Irving posted this movie about the Black Israelites and all this stuff, were we having this conversation? Were people on Twitter being able to say things like, how is it anti-Semitic to say that Jewish people are rich? We weren't having this conversation.
I think some people were. Because remember,
some people were, but it's not to the extent where it's...
Look at Jay-Z when he said in the 444 album, when he was like, do you know why all the Jews have all the property or something like that?
Yeah,
Everyone came from him. Everyone came from Jay-Z.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But again, from his perspective, he's looking around in those spaces and looking around and saying, wait a minute, the landlords, the owners here are Jewish.
Yeah.
He's stating a fact.
Yeah.
Right? At least in terms of percentage-wise, right? But yet everyone said that's anti-Semitic. Why is it anti-Semitic to state a fact? And again, from Kyrie's perspective, of course, Holocaust denial, all that nonsense that was in there, misquotations by Hitler, and all of that's nonsense, right? We know this. But there was hours of information that a lot of scholars validate and a lot of black people will benefit from, at least if they're looking for identity like Kyrie is. And my thing is, if you know, or at least believe he's not anti-Semitic, why treat him in this particular way? I get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Black people should do the same thing to other people.
Yeah.
But I still think it's excessive for somebody who didn't come out saying things, just posted a link.
He recklessly posted that link.
But he didn't say anything. Jesse, in your example, is doing something
But that
actively.
was so reckless. Like, that means he didn't care enough to You have to understand that if he watched that whole movie, he did not care enough about the parts in the movie that were anti-Semitic to think, oh, maybe I'll pause on posting this. It's kind of like if you were to watch a movie now, and as a black man, and the movie was talking about how black men should be empowered in their mental health and all of these things. And in that same movie, they're saying that, oh, black women are holding black men down, black men back because of the whatever pushing of a feminine agenda. Would you post that link on your... No matter how many hours of that movie is talking about black men empowerment, you know, and you've watched the full movie, and there's multiple parts in the movie, even though small, that talk about the that really just put black women down. Would you recklessly just post that link? You wouldn't. You would say, I don't agree with all of the ideas in this thing, but these are some of the things that I relate to. Please watch in full.
Yes. And again,
but he recklessly posted a link.
And the thing is, I agree with that. And that's the thing I would have said to him. But I'll be honest with you, I don't believe that would have been enough. I really don't believe that. I believe the ADL, everybody else involved would have said to him, specify the parts that you are against, the anti-Semitic, this, that, and the third. In fact, I don't even think they would have allowed him to post it. I really don't.
What do you mean? Well, they wouldn't have been
Not
an
allowed
intervention.
Him, so not allowed him. I don't think they would have looked favorably on him.
You know what's
even
so
posting
crazy
it.
though is that the initial response to this was, "Are you apologetic?"
Yeah.
And he doubled down. He said no.
He didn't say no.
He said he wasn't going to apologize.
But why should he apologize when he said, "I'm taking responsibility"? Because my thing is this: you're trying to put words into his mouth. Why does he have to say, "I'm sorry" and "I apologize"? When to him he's saying, "I take responsibility for this. I understand what I've done now, right? I'm not going to do this in the future, this, that, and the third." But you want to police his words.
That is so silly. I don't like when people pick and choose what words hold so much weight. What does sorry have that you can't be sorry? What does I'm holding myself responsible? Just apologize.
Then why do I need to say it if it doesn't mean much?
Just apologize.
I get what you're saying.
You did something wrong. Just apologize. You posted something. You've opened up a conversation. And I hate going too deep into this, but I have to say it. You've opened up a floor Do you guys watch The Boys? It's a show.
Yeah.
You watch The Boys?
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Okay, so you're gonna get it. You know how in like, basically it's like they use superheroes to mirror what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, you know how Commander, what's the guy?
Homelander.
Homelander.
Yeah.
And remember his wife, not his wife, the girlfriend that was like a Nazi
Yep.
back then.
Yeah.
You know, his own thing is that he just wanted to be popular.
Yeah.
So he got with this girl that was, you know, fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
And so he just wanted to be popular. So they were, you know, messing around and all these kind of things. So then the people that were now championing him are all of these Nazi people posting Nazi memes, posting this and that, posting that. They were supporting him, but he's opened the floor
Yeah, I get you.
for those type of people
To support you,
to support him. Do you understand? So it's the same, like, I think it's the same thing. I'm sure Homelander actually doesn't give a fuck. I don't think he really cares.
He cares about himself.
He cares about himself.
That's it. Himself and himself
sorry
only.
Sorry to say, Kyrie Irving.
No, I'm done. So
kidding me.
African.
I love it. It's like it's the mix is everything. It's the, I love it.
I'm not gonna say Kyrie Irving does. Actually, yeah, because if he really, Colin Kaepernick gave up his whole career. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
he out here on an
he
apology tour.
actually gave
he?
up
But
his
let's-
entire
Kyrie,
career
Oh.
for the cause.
He's out here
But let's-
ticking
let's-
the boxes of what they're telling him to do. He's like, okay, I've done that. Okay, next.
But
it's true, Colin
even in
gave it all up.
in his posting of the link, like I don't know Kyrie personally.
Yeah.
I don't, but I do really study the way that people move, and Kyrie has never been one perfect example. Kehlani almost killed herself. Almost, she was hospitalized for killing herself. Almost for attempted suicide because there was rumors around that she cheated on Kyrie Irving with Party Next Door. Kyrie did not say jack diddly fucking shit for an entire, what was it, couple years before he said, actually, no, she didn't cheat.
She could have
He
been
let
dead and
people
gone. Damn.
crucify her
Yeah, you are two Africans
because he was hurt.
Yeah.
And it benefited him
Yeah.
for the world to believe that this girl did him wrong.
Yeah.
What? Even when COVID vaccine to play, they're telling you, listen, you not doing this, you are going to expose everybody else to COVID.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't care.
And you think he should have taken the vaccine?
I don't, whatever his decision is with that, like as far as I've worked in healthcare, I was working in Queens, New York when COVID first hit America. From that November period up until I have serious PTSD because one of my first patients that was COVID was my age. That was the time they were telling them that I've seen people die.
Yeah.
I've been in a code where it was only us. We only had the PPE that we've been wearing for a week trying to save a patient and the doctor refused to come in because they didn't have something to scrub into and the patient died. I've seen a patient walk to the bathroom who was perfectly normal the day before and collapsed.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the COVID vaccine, it's something I'm very sensitive about.
And you know what the thing is, Six, yeah? Obviously, I don't work in a hospital.
Yeah.
Right? So I can't, my opinion is not as valid as yours.
Yeah.
But the reality is, people have come out, doctors have come out, or researchers come out to basically say the vaccine, the intention of the vaccine, which prevents the spread, it doesn't do it.
Right.
So
but at the time, that's the thing. It's a socialist it's a social manner. At the time, yes, research then. But research then was supporting that. It was helping in flattening the curve, right?
Yes, but the thing is...
And as you know, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but in that moment, in the space that Kyrie refused to take the vaccine, at that time, the vaccine was what was working to flatten the curve. The reason why it's not working now is because because our bodies are now getting used to certain things and that there's certain things in the environment. That's just how vaccines work, and especially the type of vaccine that they created. But with Kyrie Irving in that space... Yeah, but in that space, he knew that was what, that was what is gonna be for the betterment of the team, for the betterment of this space. But he didn't give a damn. There was no research on the COVID vaccine giving any fatalities. There was no research on the COVID vaccine doing any on creating any deformities. There was no research on the COVID vaccine giving you any disability.
But Six, everything you said is hard to find because what vaccine would have done that? Presented all those things you said in the space of 6 months. Because remember, COVID came, vaccine needed to come ASAP. That's what happened. There's not enough time for
that's-
any of. No, it's true.
Yeah.
If you look at vaccines, right, and you look at certain issues that have come about because of vaccines,
Yeah.
it's happened sometimes in the next generation. That's what happens.
But let me tell you why. Because in those times, we didn't have the technology and we also didn't have the money. The reason why we printed so much money was to put into COVID research in order for us to get to the vaccines at a certain time. What holds up a lot of, research is more so funding, manpower,
Yeah.
and technology.
Yeah.
We had funding, manpower, and technology. So of course those vaccines are good. And we have not had a virus like that since Zika, Ebola, and even in those were more controlled because what we had funding, resources, and all those things. And if we look back into the last pandemic was the flu, which was eons ago, right? And the reason why it took so long because they don't even have a slither of the type of money, resources, and technology we have today. So when people say, "Oh, well, the vaccine just happened too fast," so what did you want them to do? And they're continuously working on the vaccine for it to get better, so that in the future we do have something as effective of the flu vaccine. And let's be real, the flu vaccine still gives you the flu, right?
Yes.
But we're not in a space where it's killing thousands of people.
So, two things there, right? You mentioned the whole thing about the technology, those 3 points that you made.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything like time. Time will always reveal the effects of something.
course.
And I don't think it's harsh for us to say that, for basically him to say, I don't know the effects of this long term on my body. This is my body. I only get one.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned,
Then quit basketball.
no, but why should you have to quit basketball?
Because that's the requirement that they have right now. If that's the requirement that they have right now, sit out and don't complain about it.
Okay, fine. At least if you want to have that position, fine. But my thing is, he wasn't going to quit and you wasn't going to sack him. He's that good. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, as far as I'm concerned, my belief system, there's not enough research. Yes, you're saying there's research, there's technology, this, that, and the third, but time is the best teller. And if you look at it now, look back, Kyrie was right. Because at the end of the day, look at everything. What's that American doctor? The American doctor that was pushing.
Fauci.
Thank you, him. Look how much lies this man was saying on social media. That guy was lying for days. You see what I'm saying? And now look.
I don't know. As a healthcare worker, I feel so different.
100%. But in terms of the vaccine and the effectiveness of the vaccine, and basically all the things we were told the vaccine will do,
Hey.
right? I think Kyrie right now will feel vindicated. He will.
That's
He will.
what really just annoys me about the whole situation is that people like Kyrie get a platform and then they do something like that and then people would believe exactly what they would feel like because he's vindicated that moving forward, if something like that were to happen again, they would be... It's just a cycle. You understand? Listening to someone like Kyrie, they'll be feeling like, oh, well, Kyrie was vindicated. He was right. That's so wrong.
But the thing is,
because
though,
even just in the conversation of this COVID vaccine, COVID as what we experience it now is a lot different from what we experienced it then. When you got COVID, when it first came out, it was a death sentence. Let's be real, right? It was a death sentence. Now, when you get COVID, you're like, I got COVID, can't go to the concert.
It's like a
I'm gonna be
cold.
home
Yeah.
I'm gonna be home for a week, if that.
yeah.
Why do you think that? It's a herd. What's it called?
Immunity.
Exactly. And that is because a majority of people took vaccines.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are not vaccinated, it's not because, oh, your body is just the strongest in the world. You're just very lucky that a lot of people did think of the greater humanity and took that vaccine. That's just the fact of the matter.
You know, the
That's
thing
just
is,
the... Even if you, like, just even the way that COVID presents in the hospital these days.
Yeah.
When COVID came back for the second wave, 90% of my patients were people who refused to take the vaccine. The ones that were on ventilators the second wave around, were the ones that refused to get the vaccines. The ones that we could release by day 2, even though they had COVID and they were sick, were the ones that got the vaccine.
Can I ask you this one question? Yeah? Did COVID, of course it affected everyone, every age group, every race, ethnicity, this, that, and third, right? But typically it was taking out people with underlying health conditions, right?
That's not true.
It's not true? Okay, cool.
By statistically, yes. If you were predisposed to like diabetes, like respiratory issues, of course you were gonna get it worse. But I wouldn't even say worse. You're just more. You could expect it. You could expect if you got COVID, this is going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
But COVID was one of those Russian roulette. It is one of those Russian roulette kind of viruses that it really doesn't matter what your healthy or unhealthy lifestyle is. It just picks and chooses what is going to take over in your body, and that's just going to be it. You can be a perfectly...
You're talking about in terms of you getting it, not necessarily
Yeah, in
the
terms of you
effects.
getting it and the effects as well.
But like you're saying, typically if you've got those underlying health conditions, respiratory ones and diabetes, things of that nature, a lot of the things that black people are prone to, right, especially in America, it was taking those people out much more. It's like you said, according to the stats, that's facts, right?
Yeah.
And so my thing is, especially for someone like Kyrie, who, for example, maybe lives his life in a particular way and doesn't feel like he's prone to those things.
Yeah.
Like in his mind, he'll be thinking, I don't need to take this.
is
And plus, like you're saying,
Yeah.
there's not enough time for me to know this won't have adverse effects on my body. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not forced, just so everyone is clear, I'm, what's it called? Is it bipartisan when it comes to whether or not you should take a vaccine or not? It is, I believe, heavily
Choice
on personal choice.
Yes. I agree.
However, when you have a platform,
Listen.
when you have a platform, keep that personal choice to yourself. Unless you have the intention of influencing the masses. Because otherwise, what are you sharing your personal preference for?
I think maybe to influence the masses of people
Okay,
that you care about. That you care about.
So you got to accept the consequences then.
Yeah,
What happens in that?
exactly.
Exactly.
Good or bad?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with you. But it still doesn't prevent us from saying the bad is excessive. That's what I'm trying to say. I understand why they did what they did. This is what...
I
Let me not say too much.
I think it goes back to what Six said in that it's excessive because we don't hold people to account on anything.
In that
so
way,
it looks excessive, but actually those are the steps that you need to take so this doesn't happen again.
Okay, cool. Well, again, I think maybe that's a brilliant message to put out there as a final thing. Black people, let's do for self. Let's come together and make sure other people don't mess us about.
Yeah.
There's bare anti-black this, that, and the third. We can find it just by opening our ears and eyes. Let's finish these people and send a lesson.
That was a great reaction, man. That was a fantastic
Best
reaction.
sports segment I ever.
Thank you, Sid. That was...
Thank you, Six. Yes.
We were silent because we've done this dance. So it was just,
okay.
I didn't want you to think we're disinterested.
Oh, no.
We've had a few episodes where we've engaged, and
Okay.
when I hear Kyrie, I just shut off now. I don't even. Kyrie, Kanye West is like swear words to me now. I don't even. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I muted it on Twitter. So
Six.
Okay,
You were a worthy competitor.
Huh?
You were a worthy competitor.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Mike, babe.
Oh yeah.
But let's get into the outro, man.
Yeah.
Jabs. Yeah. What do you mean?
How many?
The thing.
The poison. Yeah.
You want to know?
They want to
people wanna know.
Oh, what?
'Cause
Vaccine?
the streets say you got 3. I'm just telling you what the streets are saying. So the streets say you're not living your raps. So
Yeah, I've never taken no COVID vaccine.
you're looking dead in the camera and everything.
Never taken the COVID vaccine. No one in my family has either.
All right. Well, it's been a great show.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in with us. Shout out to the live crew. Shout out to our lovely, lovely guests.
Thank you very much.
And your social media is Six Said It, right?
Yes.
Lovely.
On
So you can-
everything.
on
Artist
everything.
name, everything. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man.
Follow us on all our social media platforms, The Day After TNB. Like, share the videos, do all that great stuff. If you would like to send voice notes, text messages in, also the number to call when we're live, it's 075 6484 1073. If you'd like to inquire about the show or feature on the show, you can email our team the day after at thenewblack.com. You guys know Black is spelled with an X. We appreciate you guys. It's been a great week. Have a great weekend. We're back here on Monday.
Peace.